All right, so I guess we will start. I'll do a little recap. The company was in Thistle Hold, and they were in Thistle Hold for a couple reasons. They wanted to figure out some things about the Winter Wife, which was some sort of spirit they had met at this new tower that the Duke of Nurgoro was building along the forest line, and they also wanted to follow up about the Copper Crowns. What ended up happening was Degoi and Lena got in a little trouble, and Degoi got arrested. Well, sort of arrested, and he was taken to the barracks, under pretense, but they had to because the person that he tried to steal from was hassling the whole way. And ultimately, he spent a little time in the barracks, and then, met Captain Talios, who is probably a Queen's man, as far as he can tell. And then he was ultimately let go and told to lay low and not go back to that bar. The other group, Bo and Lyra May, had gone to Mayor Nightpitch's house to learn some more about the Copper Crown and also find out if he had any more information. And they actually had to fight two guards who were turned into abominations, and learned that Mayor Nightpitch really wanted the crown out of Thistle Hold, that it was causing mayhem. Parts of his lands around Nighthome were dying, and the trees were dying, and so Mayor Nightpitch gave them the crown, which is essentially King Hurianlo Opak's head and a copper crown, verdigris kind of greenish copper crown attached in a wooden box with a latch and lock, and told them about the Ordo's secret expedition within Davokar and told them to join. He gave them special licenses in case they ever needed it that had his name on it. Bo had already known about this because he had been to the Ordo prior and had gotten that information and had met a Ordo magician called Malgomar. At the same time, Master Emilio, who had came from Agrella for his own reasons, also learned about this about Malgomar sending out a group of well-known, or at least people who could get the job done, to go to the expedition because there was a magic circle there, but they had lost contact with the expedition itself for a number of days. And because the group had history with the Copper Crown, Malgomar thought they would be a good choice to send out there. And Master Emilio had learned about it and sort of confronted or discussed this with Malgomar, that he wanted to go. And so Malgomar, his junior, despite his kind of authoritarian attitude, agreed that Master Emilio could accompany the group. So the group outfitted himself and eventually met Malgomar, not at the Ordo Tower, but in a side street. Met Master Emilio. Malgomar gave him a map of where it was, and said they could travel by river, perhaps to Karun, and up to Eblis, Bolgoma by barge, and then up the Malgomar, or they could take the road from Thistle Hold to Carvosti around Jakaar until they hit the Malgomar River, and then, travel up the banks of the Malgomar River. The group decided to go the road route rather than going by barge from Karun, and so they traveled up the edge of Davokar. During the night, they were attacked by some hunger wolves, which didn't cause them too much trouble, but they saw Master Emilio at his best. And then they continued traveling. When they hit the road that started to go into the early part of the forest, they met a group of treasure hunters through there who seemed to be flushing cash and coin, who gave them a little bit of a hard time. They learned that at least the leader, it seemed, was a man named Budo, and they were going back to Thistle Hold to spend their winnings, at which point they continued until they were coming across like a little bit more open ground, because they were really traveling on the outskirts of Davokar, and they found a wagon was overturned and man was laying the ground with his wife and kids, and eventually figured out that that group of treasure hunters had robbed them and taken all their coin that after they had sold their goods in Thistle Hold before winter starts, and were trying to make it back to their barbarian clan. So the group decided to travel with them, or at least protect them in some nature, help the man who was wounded, and he picked up his kind of cart that he's pulling. It has these spars, it's a small cart on big wheels, and they help put the wheel back on, and he picks up both of those spars underneath his arm, and instead of camping there overnight, they decide to enter the forest with the last couple hours of sunlight, and that's where we ended. Anyone have any additions?
Not I.
No? Okay. I do have one question for Bo and Lirame. Who has the crown? And King Hurrian
First of all, I
Loopak's head.
thought nobody touched it. That's all I know.
No,
Right,
we're keeping it in its box. I mean, do you want Lyra to carry it, or do you want to carry it?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, then Lyra was probably the one carrying it.
I just want to know, so how are you carrying it, Lyra? Is like in a backpack or a sack, or this, obviously it's a head-sized box because there's a skull and crown in it.
I imagine it probably like makes up the bottom half of his pack.
Right, yeah, so it's kind of flushed out there, huh?
Not like so someone can just take just the crate. Like, so if he's got a sack that he's using as a backpack, it's like, okay, chest goes in first, and there is now a solid base for it. Clothes / bedroll, so I don't bruise my back carrying this around. But
okay. He has to unload it every time he, gets into a fight, though. Or does he just try to fight with it on his back?
He'll try and fight with it on his back.
Okay. So it's mid-early fall. The barbarians who you're traveling with mainly talk to Master Emilio, but they know a smattering of Ambrian. Obviously, the man is a merchant, and every now and then the toil of pulling his cart, he'll set it down and take a break. Occasionally his son, which you learn name is Oromeo, will grab one of the other spars, and both him and his dad will pull the cart. The man's name is Arok, and he's a Oldavian merchant. He's not necessarily the most successful merchant. It's just him and his wife, Eurola, and his 8-year-old daughter, who's usually riding the cart, Essie, or she's probably between 8 and 9, and her name is Essie. And the young man who brandished his sword at you before his mother kind of stepped in front is Oromeo, and he's about 14. The road to Carvosti, it's light snow, so you feel these kind of bright little bits of snow hit you on your open hands and your face and nose, and you kind of follow a trampled path that go under the eaves of the trees and of the forest, and you see wagon tracks, although it's late in the year, but most of the path is kind of trampled and by many boots, and now and then you probably see some trash and refuse, and Essie and her mother Eurola will go along the edge and actually kind of pick up these leavings that Ambrian treasure hunters have left. Occasionally you might cross an old fire that's long since dormant, and the forest just kind of crowds around you. It feels like it's keen on your presence, or at least Master Emilio, who hasn't been in the forest. This is the first time you've felt the forest, just kind of fold in around you. It's kind of this soft green, seems fresh and inviting, and you travel the next couple hours before it's getting close to dusk. And how far would the group go? Would they continue traveling through the night on the road, or would they set up camp? The man or Roke kind of looks at you and nods and probably talks to Master Emilio. And, sir, we may want to stop unless you all are traveling through the night in haste.
That sounds like a good idea, Arok. Are you tired?
Well, I am barbarian. He looks at and my wagon is mostly empty. Essie's up at top, and she's watching everyone, but she doesn't really say much. She just is pretty skittish, and she keeps an eye on everyone. Not necessarily Master Emilio, because he's much shorter than everyone. But Arok doesn't necessarily look tired. He was beaten up, but he did get some healing when you first met him by the group, and so which he was thankful for.
So, Master Emilio turns to the rest of the group, and he turns to the more experienced travelers and asks them, "Should we set up camp?"
Certainly, we can set up camp here.
Master Emilio, not having had a lot of experience in the forest, looks absolutely exhausted. His face is flush, and his clothes are matted with sweat and dirt.
He's probably getting a little shiver because it is a little bit cold. It's a light snow. There's not many. You can actually see the sky up through Davokar, which isn't something that's usual. It'll get darker later or you go deeper, but you can actually see bits of sky because you're more in deciduous forest at the moment until you make it north.
You are our guide to the Order's camp, so we shall trust in your judgment.
Okay. So you're talking to Arok, Lirame?
No, I'm talking to Emilio.
I will
right.
translate. I will translate what the group says to. I will be the translator for both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think Lirame would talk to a barbarian? Someone that willingly chooses to live in the forest?
Well, Roke seems to understand. He probably nods a few seconds before Emilio starts to explain, and then Emilio gets the sense that perhaps Roke understands far more than he lets on. But he lets Master Emilio explain, that they should make camp, and he says, "Oh, good then," and he sets down, they find a nice spot to kind of camp, and he sets up his wagon in such a way where the fire he's going to start a really small fire, and he kind of looks at Master Emilio and says, "Small fire though, it should be safe here. We're not too far in Davokar, and the worst we will find is humans, or at first he says Ambrians, and then he kind of like realizes he said that out loud, and he goes, "Well, you know what I mean." And Eurola gets ready to cook everyone dinner, like a stew or gruel, and something hot, and they pull out some pans from the wagon, and eventually you smell barbarian kind of spicy, savory food. So as the night's gonna fall, and Eurola feeds you all, and it's actually pretty darn good. Maybe a little bit too spicy for some. There's a little bit of hint of licorice, but there is some, nice tender meat. And how would you guys proceed through the night, or who would keep watch? Generally.
Lyra can take first watch.
Do teams of two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Degoi always volunteers to do watch with Lena.
So Degoi and Lena will be second.
Yes.
From like 2 to 6 or so, 4-hour watch. And Master Emilio, Bo and Lirame are gonna take, first watch, and Degoi and Lena are gonna take second watch because Degoi is still pining after Lena. Does Master Emilio insert himself at any of those watches, or?
Oh, he will volunteer to join the first watch.
Okay, with Bo and Lirame, which is probably closer around 8 or so, 9 o'clock after.
He looks absolutely exhausted. He looks absolutely haggard and leans heavily on his spear.
Emilio,
Sure.
you don't have to stay up. Why don't you go to sleep?
No, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I'm every day I do this. I get stronger. He doesn't look too good.
Okay. Yorola cleans up, takes everyone's plate. They use a little water skin to clean these kind of wooden plates off, wooden bowls, that everyone kind of drinks out of a mug of the stuff she makes. And they, it's not too cold. And after that, Aro kind of dampens the fire, and he looks about in the dark, deep dark, and there's just a little bit of coals burning. It's not too cold yet, if you bundle up in blankets in your normal gear, that it's going to get freezing overnight. And the first watch, everyone kind of finds a spot. The kids kind of sleep in the back of the wagon. She puts, a big blanket and, softer stuff for the boy and girl to sleep in the back, and they kind of sleep on either side of the wagon. The man on the inside, and the woman on the outside, and Lirame, Bo, and Master Emilio are going to take watch. Master Emilio, make a resolute test at -3. Yeah, Bo and Lirame, you're standing there, and Emilio's there, and you're kind of around the fire, maybe on some logs that you drug out a little bit, or or just sitting on the ground. And Master Emilio is really trying to stay awake, and he just falls asleep right there, sitting up, probably on a staff or whatever walking stick he has, and you just hear him there. Does Master Emilio snore? Master Emilio, you've fallen asleep.
Literally.
Lirame,
Mm-hmm.
make a resolute check for me, please.
Oh dear.
You can make it at you can make it flat for the moment. I see what your resolute is.
Mr. Emilio just tells his companions, I will just rest my eyes, don't mind me. I will just take a quick nap.
Did you miss that I said you fell asleep? Yeah. Lirame, you're up with Bo, and it's pretty dark. You hear kind of normal sound forest of the sounds of the forest. It's pretty cold, so it's not as noisy as it is in spring and summer. But you hear small animals in the forest, nothing large. Every now and then it goes deathly quiet, and you and Bo kind of look around, and you feel this tug, Lirame, just a bit of whisper in your ear from some distant place. You can't really tell what it's saying, and it seems to try to weed into your ear, into your brain, into your skin, and you just kind of shrug it off. It was there though. what does Lirame do, or does he do anything when he feels that, and just kind of, or how does he make it go away?
Lero's probably doing some good old Prios praying. Everyone else is asleep, aren't they?
Just
this
you
point.
and Bo are up. Master
Yeah,
Emilio's probably like just
He's snoring.
sleeping. Yeah, sleeping sitting up.
Emilio starts to snore.
Yeah. Lero will tell Bo, or check with Bo, like if Bo heard the whispering thing, and if he didn't, he'll say, I think the crown. I think
Crown is talking to you.
I think the parcel is trying to extend its influence. And like, kind of just warning Bo, if Lero goes loopy, it may be the crown, and they might need to take shifts carrying it to.
Okay.
Yeah, Bo
ease
doesn't
each
hear
other.
anything.
Yeah, so Lero's definitely. Yeah. We saw what it did to the mayor's men. Clearly, it has some painting influence.
Okay.
Keep watch of whoever's carrying it.
So your watch goes, aside from that, Lirame, aside from hearing this whisper slowly build, and then, you tamp it away maybe with thoughts of Prios and prayers of Prios, and you and Bo talk about the crown perhaps seeping out, of the backpack you got right next to you. Bo doesn't hear it, but your watch goes uneventful, and you wake up Lena and Degoi, maybe 2 a.m. Master Lirame is probably fallen over and is just sleeping on his side now. After a while, he may have woken up briefly and then laid down and realized it was all bets are off. And you switch watches with Degoi and Lena.
As Lero
Anything
goes
Go ahead.
sleep is like Degoi. Remember to watch more than just Lena. Shuffling into bed.
Now, I'm almost positive Lena and Degoi would know you have the crown. I mean, I don't expect that Lirame and Bo has kept it a secret from Degoi and Lena, have they?
Oh, I don't think we would.
Right. I was just checking to make sure we didn't kind of go over that. So I just wanted to be sure that they knew that you had the crown. So you change watch, and Degoi and Lena, you wake up, and, Lirame and Bo switch out with you. It's about 2 a.m. It's brisk, it's cooler, but the air is very bright, a little bit cold, but not too cold. And the sky is bright above you. There's not much clouds. You can almost see little twinklings of stars through the deciduous trees that have lost their leaves already for fall and early winter. And if you both could make me a vigilant roll, please.
I don't know what Lero was saying. There's nothing beyond Lena. She spans the entire night sky, the trees, the ground.
Is he even looking up there, or is he just looking at Lena?
Everywhere he looks, that's all he sees is Lena. He turns his head, he sees Lena. He looks up, he sees Lena.
Lena, make your vigilant roll while Degoi is mooning over you. Yeah, Lena, every now and then, aside from Degoi's bright eyes, you see shapes in the forest. They seem to come closer, and then they recede and disappear, and then they kind of seem to come closer. But it's so dark out there that you just got a sense of them, and it's almost a half moon, so it's pretty bright. You could see a little bit, and every now and then you might catch this idea of a shadow or shadows, but when you kind of look, you can't really see them. They're not really out there. Everything gets quiet, and you watch for a while, and then you realize maybe it was just a figment, but you don't hear anything. There's no sounds. Degoi doesn't hear anything either, besides perhaps breathing of the others sleeping. And eventually you see the sky lighten, and morning comes, and your watch is over. Nothing has really happened. As the sun comes up, Arok wakes up first, and he looks down at his wife, and you see him kind of bend over to wake her up, and then he bends back up, and he kind of looks at you and makes a little noise like he's going to let her sleep a little longer, and he gets the wagon ready, makes sure that the site is cleaned up before he wakes up his wife, and eventually gets ready to start to go. Do you all do anything specific in the morning besides take a quick breakfast?
And then, well, I offer to take the crown from Lirme. We'll swap it out, I figure.
Okay.
Does Emilio notice anything?
I don't know if Emilio would notice, because it is a backpack and you're traveling with them to a expedition. It's not, I guess you could roll a vigilant, but I would probably tell you need to roll a vigilant at -2. It's not that you are awake and you're not necessarily being secretive, but it's not like the backpack would tip Master Emilio off, because he's not a fairly well-traveled man. But maybe you did catch something. I'd have you roll a vigilant at -2. Yeah, you just don't see it, Master Emilio. The backpack itself doesn't really catch your eye. The fact that it has, a little bit of edges and stuff, or is bottom heavy, doesn't strike you as anything you would catch. There's no really looks between Bo and Lirme and that sort of thing. You didn't catch any quiet conversation, or because they're not really letting you in on this, that they have this copper crown, this artifact that they're carrying, or that they're even related to where you're going, which Marlame didn't necessarily tell you either. They know that they're going to the same site that the copper crown was taken, but Master Emilio hasn't been let in on that secret yet.
Yeah, Lyra would let Bo. I imagine there's the inconspicuous. All right, yes, we're packing up our tents and breaking camp and putting all of our important stuff in our bags. Yes. I know you've done hiking trips and things like that, so like the tents and things, like one person carries the canvas, the other person carries the poles, rather than being stupidly heavy on one person's back. So
yeah, it wouldn't seem out of place necessarily. You're going to have a 5-10 day march to the site, and so the packs you are carrying would be expected. You're going on a very specific place. You have chances for food and stuff until you get to the Malgomar, but after that you have 5 to 10 days in the woods, and so what they're carrying would seem reasonable. And so you all head out. It's snowing a little bit more, but it's pretty light. It's kind of like, a really light snow. It's not too cold necessarily. You just see it, these flakes of snow coming down through the trees. It's actually probably kind of pretty in the early morning light. It catches the light through the trees, and you just see them. It's not a really heavy snow. Nothing really sticks on the ground. and you head out, maybe just the early light of day because you want to make it over the river Eonor, and perhaps Arok tells you that along the road towards Carvosti, there's waypoints. There's places where there's water. There's certain camping and clearings where people would stop because there's water, there's protection, and there are particular distances generally, for those on foot or those on, on wagons or using draft animals, at least until the Eonor. And he tells you the Eonor is, you're going to cross this old bridge from Symbar that, is crossable, as long as it's not spring, kind of a wide stone bridge that's just set in the river itself, and that you can cross it. But in spring, you can't cross it. They got to take barges up the Volgoma and cross over that way towards the bridge camp of Carvosti. But this time of year should be easy to kind of cross that bridge, and you head out going north to Jakaar, and Arok says we should be able to make the camp at just outside Jakaar, which is pretty well known. And maybe even this late in the year, there'd be, food vendors or, other people, but it's getting close to winter. And so travel is going to start to get cut off. And you're kind of traveling through the forest with this light snow. It's very early morning light, so you don't kind of have full light, and you're kind of in this hazy kind of light. And then you see Arok stop, because right in front of him, you see like this barrier, almost like a wall or a line, where you see the snow and the half light of early morning, and then it's just suddenly bright sunlight in the middle of the forest. And Arok kind of looks east, and he kind of looks west, and he looks back at his wife, and he kind of shrugs, and she looks at him and doesn't know anything, and looks at this light, and Arok kind of puts down the cart and approaches it and just kind of looks at it for a minute, but just stands there. Master Emilio, what do you do?
I ask him, is there anything wrong?
Yeah, you probably have to follow him, and you see it like it's snow and like dusk light or early morning light, and then like it just stops, and then there's bright light out in the space in front of you. You can't necessarily see all the way across this bright light space, but it's definitely, Master Emilio would feel that it's not natural, and that wall or that line goes on east to west for quite some distance. And Arok looks at you and says, I do not know, Master. It seems safe. And he like puts his hand across, you see his hand go across this barrier, and he wiggles his fingers, and you can see it, and he brings it back, and he goes, this is warm there, Master. Do you know about what this is?
So Master Emilio tries to think back to anything that he might know about this from his studies.
Yeah, as a lore master, he knows a lot, really. I would have him. He would probably have to make a cunning roll for this, though, to know. And it is somewhat obscure. What he will know will depend on how well his success is. So Master Emilio has probably read a lot, perhaps because he was planning to go into Davokar, and a lot of correspondence about treasure hunters and what's in Davokar is important to the Ordo and to the Queen, and so there's a lot of reports. That's why the Queen's legation in Thistle Hold collates all these reports and gets all these reports and pays for reports about treasure hunters in Davokar, like what's there, what did they find, because Ambrian national goals really about colonizing all of Thistle Hold, all of Davokar. So he's heard about odd things in the middle of Davokar, like sudden changes in terrain and sudden changes in weather. He's also learned that there are times that these are exceedingly dangerous, and the reports that are given by those who survived, which is usually one, maybe treasure hunter, who it's hard to really piece out those reports because those reports are the treasure hunter's brain is typically addled by madness, having survived whatever happened, and as if Davokar rose up and ate his whole company or her whole company, and he or she was the only one who survived. And then there's other times where the reports almost talk about sanctuary. Master Emilio wouldn't really get a sense of what he knows, just that this is something he's read about, some change in Davokar that's related to Davokar's nature that is difficult to interpret, and that he can't really make a sense of whether this is safe or dangerous or nothing. He sees Arok put his hand in there and nothing happens and brings it back out, but he has heard of this before.
Master Miller shakes his head and says, alas, I don't know what this is.
Degoi, you see everyone kind of stop before this barrier of difference in light and temperature and snow versus sunlight, or light snow versus sunlight in early morning. What does Degoi do?
Well, he probably stops behind the lead of the group and kind of like looks around, tilts his head, scratches his head, and then goes, what's going on? It's probably just a reflection of light, you know.
No. This is clearly a blessing from Pios. His light has shone on our path.
Oh, yeah, it could be that too. Or it could be just some, water reflected off of a pond or, some water, tucked under a tree or something. I don't know.
Degoi, it goes east and west as far as your eye can see.
Degoi is not a scientist. I'm not a
Right.
thaumaturge, right? The logic behind how far it goes, it's a ghost in the eye.
Bo, you see everyone kind of stop at this barrier. Arok shrugs a little bit and, goes to pick up the wagon spars. And does Bo do anything specific?
No, he probably just studies it a little while.
Okay.
And says, "Oh, is that kind of like a red carpet for me?"
Both Bo and Lear may think this is, for them or for Prios.
Yeah.
Lena, do you add anything, or are you just kind of watching what the group does as they come to this odd barrier in Davokar?
Lena is just watching.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking up your... Arok kind of shrugs and looks at Master Emilio and says, well, we cannot go east or west. It will take us deep into the forest to get around it. We could try, but we continue along the road, yes?
I see no harm in doing this. It seems like harmless light.
Okay. He says, okay, then. And Oromeo, the boy, is kind of standing next to you, Emilio, and his mother long ago took that sword away from him. He just got this stick in there, his hand, and he goes, that's okay. I will protect this. I will become a Wrathguard. You have to prove yourself. He looks at Master Emilio because he doesn't really speak really good Ambrian. Isn't that correct? How were you tested to become a man?
Well, I studied very hard and I learned the requirements that the Ordo gave me.
Yeah, he
I'm
snorts.
not much of a swordsman, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he gets really close to you and he goes, my dad wants me to be a merchant, but I'm going to become a Wrathguard. You have to prove yourself to do that. And he's got this like long stick with, like a crook in it. He's using it as a walking stick, but that's all he's got. He's, because his mother took away the sword, and you see his mother kind of look at him, roll his eyes a little bit. And so Orok kind of picks up the cart and crosses the barrier into the sunlight. I assume everyone follows.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you leave this half light of snow and enter spring, really. It's not a natural feeling. You cross over this barrier and it's kind of cold. You could feel it on your nose and you feel the light snow hitting you. It's not uncomfortable, but you definitely feel it. And you cross this barrier and it's like immediately you enter spring. You even see little sprouts already kind of maybe eking their way through the detritus of the fallen leaves and what's called early or late winter flowers, which shouldn't be blooming, coming up that they're supposed to. And you can't really see how far that goes. And you travel for about 45 minutes, give or take. And then you hear the little girl, Essie, like catch her breath and let out this little scream. Master Emilio, you're next to them, and her mother's head snaps up and kind of looks east, and then looks west. Everyone's heads probably look around, and you don't really see stuff at first, but then you see these little motes of darkness. They look really small at first, and they just start getting bigger and bigger, and the mother screams at her daughter and shouts out something that only Master Emilio knows what she says, and she yells at her daughter, cover your eyes, and she slaps her hand across the boy's eyes and yells at her husband, who's like trudging along as his head is down, and you see him drop the spars of the wagon. He trips over and falls because he's trying to get over towards Ordo Magicka, and he realizes he's not going to get it, and there's this communication that happens between husband and wife, and she looks at Ordo Magicka and yells the same thing to him. Master Emilio, what do you do?
Well, I ask, what's wrong? What's the problem? He looks very startled and he starts looking around nervously.
Yeah, you see these little black motes, and Ordo Magicka looks at you and says, I'm going to be a Wrathguard. Prove myself here. Close your eyes, friend. Close your eyes. And he brandishes his wooden staff or stick or whatever he's calling it at the moment. And you look back, Master Omeo, and Yorello has her hands clapped over Essie's eyes, and her eyes are closed. And Orok is on his hands and knees trying to get back over to pick up the wagon, but you look and his eyes are closed. Oromeo takes a few steps out from you with this stick in his hand as these motes of darkness get bigger and bigger. What does Master Emilio do?
He turns around and he moves back towards the rest of the group and says, we better close our eyes. They're telling everyone to close their eyes.
Lirame, you're in the bright Prios light, and you hear this scream. You don't really understand what's happening. It all happens pretty fast. You can't understand what the woman is saying or, what she's saying. You see Oromeo brandish his wooden stick and step away from Master Emilio as he kind of backs up towards the wagon, and kind of the group is in this little gaggle. And what does Lirame do?
Beyond just being offended that whatever this darkness is dares to attack them under Prios's benevolent gaze, he will bolster the party and can't channel Prios's light.
Okay. So you channel Prios's light, and Master Emilio
Tries to.
tries to. Maybe the darkness,
Oh dear.
Does he
Yeah.
do anything? Does he do anything else?
Do you know what? Actually, it really annoys me that I've got a non-multiple of 5 for the experience. I have 17.
Yeah, and with a dice roll of 20, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
You not only Lirame probably feels like Prios has just left him in this moment. Like, this is really bright light, and all around him is Prios, but Lirame standing there is not his chosen.
Yeah. That's probably EOT unless I can stop the kid from getting himself killed.
You could probably make his side. I mean,
Yeah.
you can move as these things coalesce all around you. You start moving towards the kid himself, who's running after them with this faint barbarian war cry, and his voice cracks because he's only 14 and he hasn't settled yet. But he's taller than Master Emilio, probably by about half a meter, maybe, or a foot, 2 feet. So he's pretty tall. He's definitely not as tall as Lirame, but he seems invigorated. And you move to go with him towards these things that are getting bigger and bigger.
Yep.
Bo, what do you do?
I would follow along.
Okay. And you have the copper crown in the backpack.
Right. Now,
Okay.
is this like separate shapes that are forming, or is it like a rolling wall of?
No, it's separate shape. It's like all these little motes of blackness. Some are small, some are big,
Okay.
some are shaped like changing shape. They start small, and some are a lot bigger than you are, and some are smaller than you are, And there's multiple of them, all around you in kind of a circle, just closing in. Any other questions?
Nope.
Lena, you hear the girl scream, and you see Lirame and Bo bolt into action. Master Emilio is kind of folding back a little bit, maybe towards the woman. He yells out, "Close your eyes," because you don't necessarily understand barbarian. You look back and you see Oromeo, the 14-year-old, brandishing his, stick, and both the woman has her hand clamped over her daughter's eyes, and the man is trying to pick up the cart with his eyes closed. What does Lena do?
Nina will just be watching carefully what's happened, and it's gonna be ready
Okay.
to attack.
All right. Degoi, I'm sure you're probably right next to Lena.
Of course, that's without a doubt.
You see these shapes of darkness forming in this bright light. What does Degoi do?
So Degoi kind of impedes himself between the black emotes and Lena, but closer to the wife and child to protect them.
Okay. So kind of in the center.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put you on a map here in just a second. So I put everyone in initiative. And Bo and Lirme, you are maybe standing on either side of the boy Oromeo. You see these kind of black shapes wispy all around you, and they start to morph or change, elongate, maybe growing arms and legs. And Degoi and Lirme closer to the center where, Master Emilio is with the woman and her child, and the man or a rogue trying to pick up his wagon, start moving forward. Bo, what do you do?
I'm going to cast retribution on this one.
Okay. You can cast retribution.
I think it's just a straight up resolute test, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So you cast retribution on the larger shape that's forming in front of you, and
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does Bo do anything else?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
Lirme, the red hooded figure next to you is Oromeo. Bo is on the other side. You hear him do stuff. You've been around Bo long enough to figure out what he's done this many times. What does Lirme do?
I try again to call forth Prios's blessings.
Okay.
Yay! Oh, that was close. Thank you, Sun Musk. So every abomination in sight or unnatural thing takes 1d6 damage.
Oh, poor Lirme.
Oh, are they not abominations?
No, not really.
Oh no. But they're meant to be fun to kill. Yeah.
You Prios has left you, Lirme. He's voided his presence from your presence. You cast holy light and feel that come through you and look at all these shapes around you. Would Lirme know if it doesn't work? Or would he think it's worked and it's just that, they're just stronger than all that?
Nothing is stronger than Prios's light. Clearly it is working slowly.
Okay. He casts holy aura and it kind of washes out over him. The brightness in the area gets brighter and the darkness in the area gets darker. The shapes take on form. Some are small with arms and legs, and some are tall with arms and legs, but they only have 2 arms and they only have 2 legs, so they seem humoidal. They seem Ambrian or barbarian in shape. Lena, you're standing next to Degoi. Master Emilio is kind of behind you. What do you do?
Lena will shoot one of the.
Okay. And what are your arrows like? I'm assuming you're using regular arrows, steel tipped, sharp steel.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can shoot. You can select one and roll. I'd have you shoot one arrow first. Now, can you roll me a resolute check at -3? Or just... Okay. Yeah, you shoot this arrow, Lena. You draw it out. Degoi hears it. Goes right through it. You see it kind of swirl around, Lena, and reform itself. It takes on a shape that's eerily similar to you, almost like holding a bow itself, and it raises and shoots an arrow right back at you. And you take 4 resolute damage.
Oh, so do I need to do some damage on my character?
Yeah, all you do is go to resolute and you just drop it to 9. You're moving? Lena, was that you moving?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it just, you probably hit the... What does Lena do next? As she feels this, as she shoots and the thing shoots at her, she feels that kind of black arrow go through her and just sap her from the inside. What does Lena do?
Go back a little.
Go back a little bit?
Wait.
Okay.
Away from those holes.
Okay. Does she do anything else?
No, that's all.
All right. The black shapes just close in, and they form. Whoever they're closer to, they just take the almost appearance of that person. And so the one's closer to Lirame looks like Lirame. The one's closer to Degoi looks like Degoi. You were gonna say something?
Yeah. With the two-handed greatsword, I have the long property, so I will take 3 attacks against this one and this one.
I'd let you take one of those attacks and then decide if you want to take the next one.
All right.
Okay.
I already know they're not abomination.
Can you roll me a resolute check? It's a lot of damage, Lirame.
I would like to re-roll that with an experience point.
Okay. So, Lirame, you reach out with your long weapon and strike at this one that looks just like you with your bastard sword, and you swipe through it with it, and almost immediately you feel this burning, searing pain underneath your armor all the way down your side, and you take 8 points of damage to resolute.
Uh-oh.
Master Emilio, you are in the middle of this group as this blackness coalesces around you. The woman and Arok she's got the wagon up, but you can see his eyes are closed, and he starts stumbling forward, and he just starts making noise, yelling out, almost the barbarian battle cry that his son has just laid out, and you see his wife Eurola, she's got a hold of Essie and her hands around her eyes, and her eyes are closed, and they just stumble forward after them, out of this, trying to go out of this group, and they just stumble past, one or two of these black shapes that just kind of swirl around them and keep moving forward, following Orok's voice. What does Master Emilio do?
Master Emilio tries to figure out if he knows what these are.
Yeah, I guess I would have you make a lore master roll. Maybe seeing them now, or seeing what's happening, or seeing Orok and
The cunning.
yeah, cunning test. You have no idea, Master Emilio.
So
You think.
Master Emilio frowns, and he puts his faith into the barbarians and closes his eyes and tries and not to look at the orbs, and he yells at the team, "Don't look at them! Don't look at them!"
So he closes his eyes and follows after Orok.
Well, he stays near the other guys, but he closes his eyes.
Okay, he closes his eyes. Does he do anything else as he closes his eyes?
Now he grips his here. He has a death grip on his long spear.
Okay. You're in the middle, Master Emilio, and your eyes close, and you just hear mayhem all around you. Lyra May and Bo are crying out for help. You hear the voice of Oromeo, fading, and Degoi, almost reaching out to you. Master Emilio, help me! Master Emilio! And your eyes are closed as these voices start coming in to you, and you're almost positive it's Lyra May and Bo and Degoi, and this mayhem is swirling, and in that distance you hear Orok's voice yelling out and getting fainter and fainter in the distance. Degoi, you see Lena shoot an arrow, and you look behind her, and Master Emilio's closed his eyes. You see the woman Eurola and Essie kind of stumbling out with their eyes closed, and Orok, pulling his cart and maybe falling down on his knees and still pulling, but you can hear his voice as he's moving out. What does Degoi do?
So you said the ones that were closest to us turned into us?
Yeah, they look like you, Degoi. One's taller than you because it's bigger, got more substance to it. But weirdly, it's you can't see your face in it because it's, smoke and darkness and swirling kind of mist. But it, suddenly has your torso and, your kit. Like it looks, you can see it. Like you can.
Okay, so I think Degoi, bemused by his shadowy doppelganger, would kind of cock his head, and stretch out his hand, and see if it does the same movements.
No, it doesn't. Just raised his sword.
We're okay, so we don't want to have conversations, and then Degoi would run. He'd grab Master Emilio, tell him to grab Lena, and let's jet out of here.
Is he doing this with his eyes open?
Of course.
Right. You're just gonna pick up Master Emilio and run out. Okay.
Master Emilio starts yelling out in panic. It says, "It got me! Help, help, it has me!"
Right, you have no idea. That's probably what you hear too. I'm gonna kill you, Master Emilio. Maybe it's even Degoi's voice, in there.
I probably would say that. I'm gonna kill you if you don't grab a hold of Lena.
All right. You run past them with Master, you pick up Master Emilio, and these two shapes that you see just, try to attack you. And they both miss somehow. The swords go over you or around you, or somehow you block them with Master Emilio in tow as you're running, and they just kind of follow with you, Degoi, keeping pace as you run with Master Emilio or grab him and start pulling him out. Bo, you're there after seeing what's happening. What does Bo do?
I just yell out, retreat, and go exactly, do a 180, go exactly back the way we came.
Now, is he doing that with his eyes open or closed?
Open.
Okay. And so you're going to try to retreat and follow Degoi.
Yes.
Okay. But with your eyes open.
Yes.
Okay. The ones around you get to attack.
Yep.
Roll a resolute check at -3, Bo, who is carrying the copper crown.
-3.
Yeah. Well, very good. You take 3 damage to resolute.
And then just modify it, or
Yeah, you could just go in. Well, let's see if the other one hits you, and then you can just do it all at once.
okay.
Yeah, it misses. So you can just go in and you can hit your attribute, the cogwheel, and you can drop it to 12. You just know it. You took damage, resolute damage. Yeah, you know what your total is normally.
I put the modifier in there,
Right.
so I know.
Oh, right. Put the modifier. Yeah, that's easier to do. Okay, and you run with the eyes open, following Degoi as he drags Master Emilio.
Looking at the ground, so I'm not falling.
Sure.
Maybe 10 meters ahead, not looking.
Right.
Not throwing my eyes around like I guess you typically would normally. So.
Lirame, you hear the boy Oromeo, which was standing next to Bo, but no longer is there. He just makes this barbarian, crackly barbarian war cry in, a 14-year-old voice, and lays out his 2-pronged wooden kind of staff and hits the one in front of him. And you just see it kind of explode, and dissipate a little bit, and kind of disappear. And he looks at you and with this crazy grin on his face and goes, "Let's get the big one!" And he just runs off past Bo. What does Lirame do?
The one he hit dissipated.
Yes.
What was different about that one?
You can't tell. Like, it looked exactly like Oromeo, just smaller. He hits it with his wooden stick, and it just kind of. If you want help, you can roll a cunning test, or you can figure it out on your own. If you're stuck.
I am stuck because Lero wouldn't run away, I don't believe,
Uh-huh.
but genuinely taking more resolute damage is going to kill everyone else here.
You see Degoi grab Emilio, whose eyes are closed. Emilio's probably fighting him off. Get off me! And it, they're running around. 7. The only difference you could tell is he's hitting them with wood, and you're using a sword.
Like a walking stick or something. I've got firewood in the camp. Yep. Okay, time to be stupid. Is there a convenient stick that I can wield two-handed or anything like that? Or am I just gonna grab like a log, an improvised log?
I imagine if you, ditched your sword or sheathed it or, looked on the ground, you could find something. It may only be an arm length or, it may not be as big as Oromeo, who's hunted down this stick like any 14-year-old boy at walking through the forest, nice thick stick with a little crook in it, but you probably find something on the ground. It might be a little wispy stick with little, fell off a tree, just has some dead leaves on it still, but if that's what Lyra May would like to do.
Yep. Yeah. Let's be stupid and hit this thing with a stick.
Okay.
Any roll or anything like that?
I think you would just make a accurate roll
Okay.
and roll a 1d6. Or okay. Yeah, you hit it with this stick that has, it looks like a piece of branch that fell off high in a canopy, with wind or something. It's got, other branches around it, and you swipe through it, and you, at the one in front of you, Lyra May, and you just see it shrink, but not completely go away. What does Lyra May do?
I will call out to the party. They're harmed by wood.
Okay.
And shift slightly over because this boy is gonna get himself killed.
So, if Master Emilio here, she says, "Take my spear. It's wooden."
Is Master Emilio's spear iron shot? Does it have a steel tip?
Yes, the steel tip.
Yeah.
But the shaft is all wood.
Okay. So you yell out, or Degoi's got you by the neck, she's dragging you out, trying to move really quickly. Master Emilio says, "Take my spear," as he hears Lyra May yell out.
Yes, and he just chucks the spear in towards Lyra May's voice.
Okay. Back over his head.
Yes.
Lena, you're kind of behind Degoi as he's dragging Master Emilio, whose eyes are closed tight. You see Arok and the woman dragging her daughter out, heading towards outside this group of black shapes that are forming around you that look eerily like everyone else. Learme yells out that they're harmed by wood. What does Lena do?
Lena will run away also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lena, so you're following Degoi and Master Emilio. Do you have your eyes open?
Yes.
Yes? I missed it. Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Open eyes.
Open eyes. Okay. So you're running out, open eyes, following Degoi, who also has his eyes open, dragging Master Emilio, who has his eyes closed. And one of the dark shapes just draws a bead on you as you're running, Lena. And you see this black arrow, kind of smoke arrow, come out, and it just misses you. You duck all of a sudden, and the arrow goes over your head as you're running out of the space, trying to keep up with Degoi, which isn't hard because he's dragging Master Emilio out. The black shapes just kind of follow Degoi as he's leading Master Emilio and you out, keeping track of them. They oddly do not look like everyone that follows them looks like Degoi, and they looks like Lena. They take on their shape, even the smaller ones around you. None of them look like Master Emilio. And Master Emilio, you got your eyes closed. You throw your spear over your shoulder towards Learme. You kind of hear other things, though. And Learme yells back at you that he can't reach it. Bring it to me. I can't reach it. And you hear Lena yelling out for help, and Degoi is yelling at you, Master Emilio, it's got a hold of you. You got to break free. What do you do, Master Emilio, with your eyes closed?
Master Emilio starts panicking, and he tries to. Has he thrown the spear already?
Yeah, you already did that. It's over your shoulder.
So he tries to break free from Degoi, and goes back to on his hands and knees. Tries to go back to the spear.
Okay, make a strong versus strong test.
Oh, this should be fun.
Yeah, just choose Degoi and then as your target, and then do a hit strong and select his strong. You can't break free, Master Emilio. Whatever has you, it has you firm, and isn't letting go.
He says it has me. I can't. It won't let go. Spear. Get the spear.
Okay.
He starts smacking at whatever's holding him.
Yeah, I can just see Master Emilio like trying to hit, which happens to be Degoi's arm, his hand, like he's trying to hit.
Quit struggling.
So Master Emilio, make a accurate roll to see if you hit. Punch Degoi and. Oh my goodness. Roll 1d4. Yeah, Degoi, you're dragging Master Emilio. He just starts fighting you, and he just catches you. Like he's flailing about, and you're trying to pull him, and his fist just comes up and just hits you right on the chin. It dazes you for just a second, not very long, because it's Master Emilio, but it's kind of like an uppercut, hook kind of fashion. Catches you in the jaw. You take 2 damage to toughness. What does Degoi do as Master Emilio is fighting him?
Like, quit struggling, master. Watch where you're throwing those punches.
Yeah, Master Emilio heals. I'm going to kill you. Run, run. You will never break free from me. What do you do, Degoi, as these shapes, Degoi-like around, are following you out, trying to slash you with their swords?
I think Degoi has committed to his act already, so he's gonna keep dragging the flailing Master Emilio.
Okay.
We're in a tree line, right?
Yeah, you're kind of on the path still. Like, you know, the bright air, you're following Arok and Yoroma and Essie, and they're stumbling blindly, you know, following Arok's voice. You lose sight of Arok, and then you hear this bell, you know, almost like a cowbell in the far distance. You can just barely see Yoroma and Essie, and they just look hazy as you look forward. You look left and right, and you got Degoi-like apparitions on either side, and you're still kind of on the path to Carvosti as far as you can tell. So it's like a lane, or, you know, you're in Winterfar, but you're surrounded by bright light and you can see a bright sky like you're at spring instead of fall.
How far up or how far away from the barbarians am I?
You think if you can drag Master Emilio, you may be able to get to where they are.
Okay, so yeah, I'll continue to do that.
Okay. Just make me a quick test as Master Emilio is fighting against you to drag him out of. Okay. You don't quite make it out, Degoi, as you're pulling Master Emilio. I assume that would be your whole round action, just try to drag him out, eyes open.
Yeah, especially with him flailing around like a 2-year-old. Yeah.
And you still have your eyes open.
Of course.
Okay. The Degoi-like apparitions around you just reach out with their fencing swords. It looks almost exactly like your fencing sword, Degoi, on either side of you. Roll a resolute test. So you lose 2 to resolute as the other one strikes out at you also. That doesn't happen though. Let's see, because it rolled armor. Roll a resolute again. And so I would roll your resolute. Yeah, roll resolute again. And you take 2 to resolute as you're struggling to get Master Emilio towards where you're looking up and you're pulling at him and he's fighting at you, and then you see kind of Yoroma and Essie almost disappear in front of you. They were maybe 3 meters, 10 feet in front of you, and now you can't see them anymore. Bo, you're standing next to Lirame, and you see Orome raise up and strike this huge figure that looks like just a giant Orome in front of you. And he's still screaming this barbarian war chant, and you see him strike with the wood, and then you see the shape in front of him shrink and then swipe back at him with almost looks like the exact same stick with the Y-shaped crook in the top, and hits Orome, and Orome goes down to his knees, and he looks at you with this kind of dazed smile on his face, and then he goes, close your eyes, friend. Close your eyes. And you just see him close his eyes really fast and then starts crawling towards where his father and mother were placed. As he closes his eyes, the shape shifts, kind of gets hazy as it moves, and it just, since it's closest to you, it becomes more bow shape as Orome kind of crawls past you, probably underneath or around Lirame and your legs. What does Bo do?
I try to fetch the spear that Master threw.
Okay. You can make a quick test. If you make a quick test, you get the spear, and then you can make another action. Okay. Yeah, the spear kind of lands near you, and you reach over and pick up Master Emilio's spear. What do you do next?
So I'll swing.
Okay.
The one that I had cast retribution on, so the one kind of at the 1 o'clock position.
Okay, sure.
So should I just use sword as a regular attack, or?
No, it's like I would just have you roll. What's Master Emilio's? I think it's accurate when you use a spear.
Oh, but I'm just swinging it. I'm not throwing it.
Right, you're just swinging it. Well, you could roll strong, I guess. Because he has... You can use strong. That should be fine.
Okay. And should I do against defense?
You can just roll strong
Okay.
And I'll tell you what happens.
Okay. Oof.
I'm assuming you're letting that stand?
Yes.
Yeah, you swipe at it, and maybe it's moving, maybe it's changing its shape to be more bow-like, and you just miss Bo. You pick up the spear and strike at it really fast as Oromeo. Maybe he gets in the way, or, you have to step over him, or, he kind of jostles you a little bit, and your strike goes errant as he's crawling on his hands and knees, and you hear him laugh a little bit. Lirame, what do you do as Orome crawls past you? Close your eyes, friend.
I'm going to oh, sorry. Thwack the use my branch to thwack the one that I'm fighting.
Okay.
And I'm gonna spend that XP, get me back to a nice round multiple of 5 to reroll that. I will spend XP for petty things. And
yeah, you brandish this
shut
branch.
my eyes, following. This is a pre-branch, not a weapon. The actual weapon is sheathed.
You
and
don't see it has any effect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just flailing.
Right. Does Lirame do anything else?
He shuts his eyes.
He shuts his eyes. Okay.
And calls out, listen to the stupid barbarian.
Okay.
His advice has worked so far.
So Lirame, you take one last swipe with the branch, multi-frond branch, and just miss it, It's just too willowy, it's bending around in places it's not supposed to bend. It's not firm like a sword. And you close your eyes, and immediately you hear Bo's voice. Don't leave me, Lirame, don't leave me. Bo, you kind of look over at Learmaid. You see him swipe at these things with his willowy branch, and then he closes his eyes, maybe in frustration, and you see the shapes just move past them, like he's not even there. Once he closes his eyes and they close in on you. Lena, you're following Degoi. He's pulling Master Emilio. You look behind you and you see Orome with this crazy looking smile on his face. His eyes are closed and he's crawling, past Bo and Learme. What does Lena do?
Okay, Lena will hold, grab Master Emilio, and close her eyes.
Okay. Yeah, Degoi, you look over your shoulder, making sure Lena's there, and you see these little copies of Lena on either side of her, on the left side and the right side, and crazily enough, you see Lena close her eyes, and those shapes just shudder a little bit, and then they start to flow backwards towards Bo and Lirame. Master Emilio, whatever's got you is just dragging you, and you probably lose your feet every now and then and fall on your knees, and it's just got this firm grip of you. You hear this whispering in your ears that, they're taking you to be consumed by the forest, by Davokar, this place you've never been before, this dark and terrible place. Your eyes are closed. You see little flashes of light in front of it. You hear, yells of Bo and Learme and Oromeo behind you needing help and assistance. What does Master Emilio do?
Master Emilio starts to continues to put up a fight.
Okay. I think you would make that strong test at -2 this time after punching Degoi in the head. So I would choose Degoi, and make a strong versus strong test. So what happens, Master Emilio?
So he continues slapping at the hand, and maybe is able to hold his own and prevents himself from getting dragged on.
He just breaks free, suddenly maybe rocks back on his heels as Degoi loses grasp of him. He's just got him around the top of his shoulder or something, and you kind of break free. You hear this bell in front of you, like cowbell in the far distance. You have all these other voices around you, and most of them are these people you just met yelling for help. Their voices getting smaller and smaller, and as if they're dying and you've left them behind. What does Master Emilio do?
Master Emilio, well, that's a strong, that's a slow move, right? So
Right.
he tries to concentrate. Can he distinguish between, what's between the voices?
What's real and what's not?
Yeah, what's real and what's not?
I think you could make a resolute test. He's had his eyes closed for a while. You can't. For whatever reason, Master Emilio, maybe it's just being in Davokar, maybe it's having not seen something like this before. You've read a whole bunch about abomination and spirits and the terribleness, darkness of Davokar, but you've never really personally experienced it. Maybe you just can't sort it out. Maybe that trips you up a little bit or holds you back.
Okay, so he just tries to struggle and prevent himself from getting dragged down. He doesn't do anything else.
Just put his feet firmly in the ground.
Yes, tries to use
Okay.
the bulk and just lean back.
his low center of gravity. Degoi, Master Emilio kind of breaks your grip on him and then just kind of digs in his feet, and you're just standing there, this look of concentration on his face. You look back and you see Lena with her eyes closed, trying to follow you. The boy Orome, crawling. Maybe through the wisp you see Learme, and oddly turn your direction, but still kind of standing tall and straight, and his eyes are closed. You can't really see Bo. He's just surrounded by this mass of blackness. What does Degoi do?
So Degoi, after Master breaks free, kind of walks up to behind him and says, "I'm sorry," and strangles him. I'm tired of you flailing around while I'm trying to save your life, so it's best to just knock you out.
And I am assuming he is doing this with his eyes open.
Well, once I get the stranglehold, I can just close my eyes.
All right. Well, wonder how long it will take to strangle Master Emilio. Make your attack roll.
Oh man!
You just knock him out.
Yeah, I just knocked you out. You're not dead.
You're not dead. You just strangle him. You're strangling him like he's probably fighting you off at the same time. What I see is that Master Emilio digs in his feet. He punches you in the face. He's trying to get away. He slowly breaks free, but that's because you wrap around him and put this stranglehold on him. At the same time, this just before you close your eyes, Degoi, a Degoi jumps on you, this wisp of shadow, and it's almost like if the only one who could really see it is Bo, and he probably isn't watching, and you go behind Master Emilio and to garrote him and strangle him, and then this shadow goes behind you and tries to garrote and shadow you at the same time. Let's see if you can do it. Oh. Yeah, I think it just dissipates. You must close your eyes right at the last minute, and it misses. You can't get a hold of you. You close your eyes just as the loop comes over your face, and you can probably see this little black loop of shadow go over your face, and you realize as Master Emilio goes limp, and you shut your eyes, and then is it trying to draw it around your neck, and you shut your eyes, you don't feel it, Degoi. You don't feel that shadow of a garrote do it. What do you do after you have a limp Master Emilio?
Master Emilio starts struggling, and he's starts to scream, but as it gets weaker, it turns into a gurgle. Besides gurgle.
Right. Once he's limp, I'll try to lift him up, and at the same time, I'm kind of like telling Lena, "Come over here and help me with the master."
By voice. Lena's got her eyes closed. Lena, are you going to help Degoi with Master Emilio, or let Degoi do that on his own?
Lena will help Master Emilio and Degoi.
Yeah, I think it would be easy to bump into him. I was just curious, since you left Degoi in the bar, if you were just going to keep walking past him in the forest. Bo, you are there by yourself as Lyra May starts walking away. His eyes are probably tightly closed, as tightly as he can get them. What does Bo do?
I'll close my eyes, but swing at the one that I
Okay.
attacked before.
Kind of at the same time. Close your eyes and swing at the same time.
Yep.
All right. You swing, and you just as it kind of connects with it, you close your eyes. You can't really tell what happens, Bo, as that goes through, because you don't really feel them when you hit them anyways. Learmay didn't feel them when he hit him with his branch. He thought maybe it's because it was willowy, but your, stout kind of pole arm on the spear using the wooden part, you don't really feel it, and you close your eyes. And I'm assuming now that Bo, Learmay, Ordo Lena, well, Master Emilio's eyes are closed in a different manner, and Degoi, your eyes are closed. You're just going to start moving towards that bell.
Yes, although there's probably an element of trying to dodge each other's branches with our eyes closed.
Yeah, I could make you all make quick tests and take, a little damage here, a little bit damage there, but I won't do that. You all kind of stumble out, really. You go towards the sound of this cowbell, and that's really what it sounds like. Orok had like a little bell attached to his, but it had something stuffed in it so that the tang didn't hit. So he probably took that out, and he's just ringing it. And you stumble out to this brightness, really. You feel it first because your eyes are closed. Degoi feels it first as he's dragging the unconscious Master Emilio with Lena, and it's warm and bright, and you can almost feel the sunlight going through your eyelids. And then you're in shadows again, and you feel cold, and you feel the snow on your face and hands, Lena and Degoi. Oromeo kind of crawls out after you, and he rolls on his side, and he's laughing a little bit. And then Learmay and Bo come out last. They come out of that brightness towards the bell, and once Learmay and Bo are out, Orok stops ringing the bell and just kind of slumps down next to his wagon, looks at everyone and says, "Everyone okay? We all made it, yes?" And then he looks at Master, because you guys have no idea what he's saying. He looks at Master Emilio and he goes, "Damn." So then he kind of repeats everything in broken Ambrian, as he's taking a breath, and he goes and checks on his wife, Uroma, and Essie, and he looks down at his son, Oromeo, who looks a little bit pale and peaked, and he kind of picks him up, and his son looks at him and says, "I'm going to be a Wrathguard, Dad." And Orok just shakes his head. Degoi, you have Master Emilio, who's unconscious. What do you do with him?
Well, I think putting him in the cart would probably be a good idea. He'll wake up on his own eventually.
Okay. Go ahead.
I almost want to slap him to see if he wakes up, but the urge to slap him kind of dissipates.
Lena, go ahead, I'm listening.
I was like, I don't actually know if that actually works. Is that,
no, he's at 0. Like he will eventually come to here, get like a 1 point of toughness and a couple of, he wakes up, and then, you just put him to sleep unconscious. And so he'll probably wake up 45 minutes, hour and a half, he'll get one point of toughness back. Unless someone heals him in some fashion. If you had Medicus, you could wake him up in that fashion. But if you don't have
Medicus, always a taker of life, not a giver.
Okay. Lena, Degoi just kind of lets Master Emilio probably, or maybe he takes him and puts him in the cart, which takes some effort. Does Lena do anything as you're outside? You can still see where that brightness is. That barrier is there. You're probably 3 meters. You're probably 3 meters or 10 feet inside, kind of cold fall, early snow Davokar, where behind you is still that kind of barrier of brightness. You see like these shapes just butt up against it, these kind of dark shapes, and they kind of butt up against there for a while and rebound against that barrier a little bit. and then they're eventually going to kind of fade off into the distance. What does Lena do?
Lena will try to heal Master Emilio.
Okay.
Try your best.
It's something about his stoutness that he's still unconscious. Master
Okay,
Emilio,
I will try again.
go ahead, Lena.
I'm sorry. Lena will try to heal him again later.
Okay. Did you say now or later?
She said later.
Okay. Master Emilio, you're unconscious. Do you go anywhere specific?
Master Emilio has a strange dream of finding a strange artifact that he doesn't really understand.
Yeah, you are unconscious. Make a resolute check. Yep. You have a strange dream about an artifact. You almost see what it looks like. It starts to take shape, this kind of round, pointy kind of shape, and you're almost getting a sense of what it looks like, and then it dissipates. You don't see it, but you kind of feel it, Master Emilio. Like this artifact is calling to you, but for whatever reason it fades as you're unconscious, and that's probably what you see. Lear May, as you exit the brightness, do you do anything specific?
I thank Prios for keeping those blights contained within his holy light. You cannot convince the zealot that Prios has abandoned them or not with them. This is clearly his will, keeping the darkness trapped within that narrow band.
That's how he envisions it.
Yep. You can rationalize anything away.
Okay.
But I will let Bo know that those darkness things, when I hit one, it harmed something within me badly. I'm not 100% sure on how he feels, which out of character is code for Lyra May's resolute got fucked.
Yeah, like Lyra May, you probably left part of your spirit and soul back in there. Like maybe he rationalized it that he had to do that because Prios needed to take it from him, but it's almost like you've been drained of your spirit, pulled out of you in that bright space of Prios that you try to tell yourself is keeping the dark shapes inside. Bo, what do you do when you come out?
So, am I still surrounded, you mean?
No, you kind of stumble out after Lyra May. Everyone has their eyes closed. Once you close your eyes, they can't see you, and they can't attack you. And so you stumble out, I think, if your eyes are closed, following the bell until everyone's out, and then, that kind of higher pitched cowbell from Orok ends. And do you do anything as you stumble out, open your eyes, and you're back into, early snow, mildly cold weather? You can look behind you and see the barrier, but...
So do we get the idea that we crossed the barrier and that's when we were attacked?
You get the idea that you cross the barrier first and you're making your way through the barrier, and then something caused these things to coalesce around you.
Mm.
And then you get outside that barrier and they can't cross it.
And you said this barrier stretches east to west, as far
Yeah,
as you can see.
Yeah, if Bo looks, he can see kind of this bright line, going into the forest. Now, obviously, his line of sight's going to be broken up pretty quickly,
Mm-hmm.
But as far as he can look on east or west in the forest, that band of brightness kind of continues, but he loses it maybe after 50 feet or 20 meters, give or take. Just because there's so many trees, really.
Yeah. Right, and our direction of travel was across the barrier, or do we have an idea that we could maneuver either?
Yeah, you're still on the path.
west?
I mean, a rook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're still on the path. You can see the path going north. Like you just stumble out along the path, and the barrier crossed the path at oblique or a 90-degree angle, and you kind of stumble out back onto the road towards Carvosti. So Arok, go ahead.
Because I'm an awful person trying to figure out how that happened, I was looking at the rules for alternative damage. It says it can be healed in the same way that regular damage can. Would Lero be able to ask Lena to lend him some...
What does it look like when you're at half resolute? How does that show, Lirame?
It's
not like
probably
it's...
a distance to his sort of the 1,000-yard stare style thing.
Yeah, glassy-eyed.
Yeah.
Almost concussed,
Yeah. I'm asking Lena because I'm unwilling to risk healing myself.
Lena, Lirame kind of looks at you. Would you try to heal Lirame?
Just wait.
Yeah, I missed that. Go ahead.
Yeah, Lena will try to heal Jeremy.
Okay. As Lena's trying to heal Lirame, Arok, picks up his wagon and says, "We should make haste if we're gonna make it to Jakaar." And he makes sure that his family's all ready. And wow, that's twice now, Lena.
Yeah.
Twice 20s on healing rolls.
Healing is never good in this group.
No. So Resolute will heal like a point a day as normal, but just like toughness does. But
yeah,
unless...
I'm assuming, I just completely assuming I don't regenerate this in the same way I would normal toughness.
No, because it's alternate.
Yep, that makes sense. Whenever Nana successfully heals Lero by a couple of points, Lero will take over the casting of Lay on Hands to support as well, Did anyone else get hit or hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, as a group,
Okay.
he'll be brought back from the brink, and then he'll also help with the recovering people from the corruption. This corrupting blight of Davokar's depths.
Okay, so Arok lifts up the wagon. It's a bit heavier though, because Master Emilio is there, and he just starts trudging towards the thing. He's trying to make good pace, but he knows that it's going to be hard to get to Jakaar before nightfall. Master Emilio probably regains consciousness about an hour or so afterwards. As they move north, Master Emilio, you wake up in the back of this wagon. You look up and snow is falling on you and on your face and eyes, and your face is kind of damp because you've been unconscious for an hour and a half. What does you're a little bit longer for the end of the wagon, so your knees are over the edge and your feet are kind of down over the edge of the wagon, and you wake up in the back of the wagon. What does Master Emilio do as he wakes up in the back of the wagon?
When Master Emilio comes to, he squints and looks around, tries to get up and looks around to see what's happening. And when he sees his companions, he asks, "What happened? What happened to the creatures?"
Well, nothing really happened to them. They're all still there. We just barely escaped with our skins.
Rios has them contained in that barrier.
Emilio says, "At last thing, I had my eyes closed, but one of them grabbed me and it just choked me to death. I don't know what happened."
Yeah, that was me. You just Thanks for punching me in the jaw, by the way, when I'm trying to save you.
Emilio just apologizes and says, "It was so strange. It looked exactly like us."
They rather looked a lot like shadowy wisps and apparitions. You may want to get your vision checked.
He kind of cleans his glasses, but you suspect that that's not going to happen.
Master Emilio, you're still pretty wounded. Do you stay in the back?
No, he's gonna just recover and just rest in the back in the car because he's pretty drained, and tries to massage his neck.
You just lay in the back of the cart as Aro kind of pulls you. Every now and then, Oromeo kind of joins again to pull you, and you're pretty sapped out. You know, you got this burn around your neck. Your voice is really scratchy because of how Degoi put you to sleep, and you're just kind of sapped out in the forest after this encounter. Lirame, you're laying on hands to yourself.
Yeah. Giving time for the correction to fade between attempts and trying to recover. So that,
What happens when it just seems to fail and fail? And then you get blight mark. What blight mark do you get?
I mean, he probably looks a bit feathery. That's as far as his blight marks can
Around his
go,
ears. So,
no,
somewhere they can see,
this- this will be
past his mask.
something that Degoi would have actually picked up on. I forgot to mention it to RPG. Do you know what pictofibers are, RPG?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you know what a
Pictofibers?
pictofiber? Yeah.
Is that in the game?
No, it's a slightly out of date term for proto feathers. Like a transitional thing between hair and feathers.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. I'll send you a bit of info
Picture?
on it. But when I mean the pictures are all fossils because that's the only pictofibers that exist nowadays. But when you were strangling Lero a few weeks ago, he has those running like from his hairline down his back.
Ah, okay.
So you probably would have noticed that. I don't know if you would have put that up to weird changeling anatomy, but you are aware of that, and those are a little bit more pronounced whilst he's blight marked. Probably less pictofibers and more feather.
So you grew some feathers now. What color are they? Purple?
Do you know what? Let's make them that kind of iridescent-y black, purple, crow feather thing.
Dark.
Yeah, he's got black hair. So they're like that shiny black.
So you continue north, and you eventually, in the later part of the day, like it's only a couple hours from dark, and Rogue says he's not sure we can make it to Jakaar camp before nightfall. And you come to the river Eonor, and there's this broad causeway made of these huge kind of flat stones as you come to the Eonor, and Rogue kind of takes a rest there because Master Emilio is still riding in the back of the cart, and he's been pulling him that whole way, and takes a drink of his water and kind of speaks in fairly broken Ambrian, but enough that a trader like him and merchant can get by. Obviously, he just did trading in Thistle Hold, and he tells you about the causeway that over the bridge of Eonor is from the old Symbar, and it looks like this huge kind of causeway with these giant stones that lead across the river. And you can notice that on the other side, or the western side of the river that leads towards Lake Volgoma, is there just a rush of water. And the water comes to the east, and then it rushes probably underneath and in some fashion, either by openings or tunnels dug under this causeway. And Rogue tells you that this is traversable in fall and summer, fall and winter, but as soon as spring or the runoffs come off from the mountains, generally it floods over the top, or it's much harder. And most of the time you take a barge, either from the coast or a barge up around Jakaar towards Carvosi to get across. But we should be able to cross now. And you see these kind of giant causeway. The blocks are probably about 25 or 30 paces in width, and it goes across the Eonor at this kind of narrow or spit, and you step onto this kind of causeway. You kind of got a dirt ramp that goes up to it, and you step on it to cross, and you're partially across. If you look towards the west or where Lake Volgoma will be, you can see water rushing out underneath it. The water line's only about a meter or 3 feet below the edge of the causeway, but you can see the current underneath and almost hear it and feel it in your feet underneath you as the river is somehow running underneath this causeway. And you know, if you fell in too close to the river, that especially on the east side, that and you got swept underneath the causeway, that probably would be the end of you as you walk across the causeway. Bo, I think you still have the copper crown.
I do.
So you're crossing this old Symbar causeway. Can you make me a resolute test?
Oh, wait a minute. Would any of my resolute come back, or would be?
No, not yet. You get 1 point per day.
That is why Lero has been trying to heal this entire time, and politely requesting assistance with that fact so that
Yeah, you
the entire
feel
group
like
can be restored.
all right. Bo, as you're walking across the causeway, the heaviness of the backpack just feels like it weighs 2 or 3 Master Emilios. Like it just drags you down all of a sudden. It feels really heavy. You have to readjust it because it's so heavy. You know, it's hitting against your back, and it just hurts. And you know, your sacrum and your knees start to ache, and you just want to put it down for a moment on the causeway when you get to the middle of the causeway. But you know, the group kind of spaces out in front of you. You know, maybe you stop for a moment or a couple seconds as that pack kind of weighs you down, and then you just, you know, grit your teeth and keep walking. You notice as you cross the causeway and step onto the dirt on the other side that suddenly that weight is, you know, a lot less. Like it felt like you were wearing 3 or 4 packs, or you know, you're carrying Degoi on your back, and then you exit the causeway, you get on the other side of the river, and it feels light again, like it suddenly weight lifted off your shoulders. So Arok kind of looks at you and says, we probably have 3 hours to Jakaar, but we're going to be traveling in the night. Should we camp here or press through? He kind of looks around at the forest, a little bit jittery after what happened today.
Well,
Maybe
what
we
does
should
everybody
press
think?
through this time.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could do that.
Master Emilio in the cart, your voice just kind of floats out.
Can he walk? Can Emilio
Well, you
walk?
got 1 toughness. You can walk.
All right,
you
he
can,
tries to get out and walk.
Okay. I mean, you're weak, but you know, you're alive at 1 toughness. You can walk as you are resting and recovering in the back of the cart. So everyone would like to continue on in the night, right?
Yep.
Okay. So you continue on in the night, and you continue through the dark. The forest kind of crowds in on you, and then you hear music, like flutes or a flute, you know, distant. At first you can't really tell that it's there, but then you hear like maybe a little bit of flute music, and it kind of cuts off, and you hear voices, and you see through the trees this kind of as the path goes forward, you see firelight coming, and then you hear like arguing, perhaps, or voices that sound like arguing, and then maybe a couple times you hear the word stop. Arok kind of looks at you as you're following the path, and he says, the camp, it looks like the Jakaar campsite should be just up there. We're almost there. And you're kind of going up this hill. When you hear that, you kind of smell wood smoke, maybe grilling meat.
Are the voices in Ambrian or are they in barbarian?
Yeah, well, Ambrian.
I think it's odd for Ambrian to be this deep, especially if the Jakaar campsite is up ahead.
Could they be traders or possibly bandits?
Probably bandits, if anything. How far away are we?
You can hear the voices as far as you can tell in the dark, like the lights in front of you. And so you're probably, 30 yards, 30 meters, 40 yards, 40 meters.
Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted by the music. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
What do you do?
I think Degoi wants to range ahead a little bit to, check out the campsite in the shadows.
By himself?
Yeah, I don't see why I need to take anybody. I'm not going to try to engage anybody.
Okay. So Degoi wants to kind of go ahead. Does anyone go with Degoi or just let him kind of go?
I would ask him if he wants me to accompany him.
No, I'm just scouting ahead a little bit. I just don't want to run into, a group of Black Templars or something.
Okay. Bo, do you let him go by himself?
I do.
Okay. Anyone rather Degoi not go by himself or going to accompany him?
No, I'll let him go. Hold on.
Okay. So Degoi, make a discreet test. Oh, just on the mark. So you kind of shadow into the trees. There's a little spit of Davokar that comes up. You're going up this path, and there's like an embankment, and there's some bigger rocks, that sort of thing. And you kind of tuck into the shadows of these trees or these rocks, and you see, some wagons. You see a big campfire kind of in this center of this kind of open area along the path down where the embankment comes. You see a fair number of people, actually, Degoi. They all look like Ambrians. There seems to be a woman around a fire that is being hassled by a fairly large woman. There's maybe 15, 16 Ambrians around them, and they're kind of laughing, and she's they're taking what they want from her cart. That it looks like has food and a table or next to the fire, and she's trying to take back what they're taking, and they just kind of push her on the ground, and you hear a bunch of laughter among the Ambrians. In a little kind of cloister area, you can kind of see what looks like 2 Templars and 2 priests of Prios just off to the side, like on the other side of the road. They don't seem to be doing much. They're kind of sitting at a solitary camp, and then a little bit past them, further up, you see kind of 2 wagons and a man kind of standing against his wagons, kind of appears to be smoking a pipe because you see the glow of his face in the pipe as you look in the distance.
Okay. Well, once I've established who they are and about their strength and a couple of black cloaks and stuff, I'll join the party, let them know.
Okay. Arok kind of looks at you and says, that is the Jakaar campsite. What's happening?
Apparently, there's a bunch of a bunch of Ambrians there, causing the campsite to be bigger than probably what it's used to. A couple of black cloaks.
Yeah, he kind of like scratches his head and says, well, this is the Jakaar, campsite before Carvosti. Like in the spring and summer, there's lots of food sellers and traders, but this late in the year, there's probably not that many people there. At least not traders who set up their caravans here.
Yeah, it's kind of 16 of them, so that's quite a bit. Turn into Laramie and Bo. What do you think about the black cloaks?
You don't know if they're black cloaks, Degoi. They don't look like black cloaks. They look like Ambrians, treasure hunters.
Oh,
that
okay.
kind. They don't look like you. So you saw about 15. They're all they're sitting on the bank or up on the embankment. There's two of them that are hassling this woman around her wagon, and the others are just kind of watching, and a number of them are laughing, and they're kind of around that area. And so they look like mostly Ambrians of nondescript nature, which you probably would expect are treasure hunters. They don't look like black cloaks or, Queen's Guard or anything like that. Degoi would know that.
But there were priest of Prios.
And there was, across the path, there was 2 Templars and 2, looks like Prios men, but they're separate from them. They're just watching, but they're not really doing anything about it. They're kind of staying to themselves. And then further on, you see, 2 wagons and what looks like a barbarian watching this, but he doesn't intervene either.
Okay. So do we stop here or bypass it?
I mean, this is the dedicated rest site for Ambrians. We are Ambrians.
You can learn something.
It's
Turns-
nearly-
Emilio turns to the third and said, "These are your people. Maybe you could get some information."
He thinks Learmay is a third because he's wearing a mask, so.
Laramie is a trained theurgist. He has adept theurgy.
What does Learmay say when Master Emilio says maybe you could talk to your...
I have absolutely no concerns with that whatsoever, and we'll go approach the campsite.
Okay. So as a group, you kind of approach the campsite.
Yes.
Okay. So you come up the trail, really, and I don't have you in any particular order, but that's what you see. You look to the kind of west, where there's like this hillock or like a rise in the land that, you see a number of men and women sitting up on it. They all look kind of roughened. Up above them, you may see a couple others through the throw of the campfire. You see, a number of men and women kind of arrayed around, kind of getting ready for the night. And you see kind of 2 Ambrians obviously hassling a barbarian and just, taking stuff out of her wagon and and pushing her away as she's trying to stop them from doing that. Arok and his wife just kind of tuck in over here, perhaps, when they see that there's some degree of difficulty happening between these Ambrians and this single barbarian. Arok looks over there, and his wife just kind of gives him this small shake of her head, and they kind of tuck into this tree line over here, in the just outside the fire glow. The fire is probably right in the center, but it's pretty big, really. In a little clearing, maybe right across from where Arok kind of pulls in his little cart, you see, 2 Templars and what looks like men of Prios just at a small campsite. They're looking over that way, but they're really not doing anything. One Templar is probably standing up, and they're fully kitted out, and he's just standing a little bit further away from them and just watching what's going on. And then across that kind of open area, you see who's obviously a barbarian and kind of 2 wagons hitched up and camped out over this little turn, and he's just kind of watching what's going on, really. Bo, what do you do as you enter, the Jakaar camp rest area?
I'm gonna kind of keep an eye on what's going on over here.
Okay. Just watching what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm just studying the interaction there at this point.
Yeah, you just see a really big woman and another smaller man pushing around what obviously is a barbarian woman, and just, taking stuff. Really. It seems like the others around them must be attached to these 2. They are laughing or snickering or, not making much comment, or it just doesn't, they're just not paying it much heed, but you obviously hear some laughter.
Yeah.
Are there ogres there? Are there 3 ogres?
You see 2. The one in the middle is just a big woman. That's the best icon I had for her. But you do see 2 kind of ogres in the group. They're kind of laying out on the berm or in the grass, laid out with their hands on their bellies, but they're obviously much bigger. And most of the others look like men and women of Ambrian descent, while they're dressed like Ambrians. But yes, there are 2 ogres.
And wraith guards? 2 wraith guards? I'm just looking at the pictures.
No, you don't. I wouldn't count what the pictures are. That's just what they look like. But you don't see wrath guards. They just look like men and male. You mean the ones up here?
Yes.
You can. Yeah, those are actually pikemen, or they look like men, and they have a halberd and chainmail and a helmet.
Got it.
Right. And so you probably see 2 ogres, and you see a number of men with either swords and steel shields. You see a couple with long weapons. The ogres are, almost asleep. You see others that are dressed lightly. They have, leather armor and a sword. And they're kind of here. Up on the hill, you barely see, you see 3 other figures just kind of sitting up there, seemingly all smoking, or they're just elevated above the group for whatever reason. And then you see the Templars, which are easy to pick out, and the men of Prios.
Lirame will definitely extend a nod and a Prios Lachote to the other priests.
Sure. Now, are you just making eye contact from across the distance, or are you actually going to go talk to them?
I'll stay with our group, but there
Okay.
is a nod and a holy gesture, and
Okay.
in In the same way that two priests see each other from across the room and say hello.
One priest gets up and starts walking towards you. He looks at the other one. The other one shakes his head, and then he looks at the Templar. And you see the Templar just step out just a little bit, so he's a little bit so that the other priest can kind of walk behind him, and that he's just a little bit further out. Probably positioning himself. That's what Lyra May would see. And you see the other priest kind of get up from a sitting position and nod at the one that May's sitting, and he starts crossing towards you, Lyra May. Degoi, what do you do as you enter this space?
So Degoi follows the group up into that tree line, I guess, and then he kind of meanders towards the barbarian woman being hassled by two people.
So are you going to take a circuitous route like this way, or are you just going to, nonchalantly walk up around?
Yeah, around where you were just was.
Okay. I mean, you can put them where you want. You're watching them. She eventually gives up as they're pushing her onto the ground and taking what looks like she has foodstuffs, like she's selling foods to those who come through the camp. That's what it appears to Degoi. He's pretty smart on those kind of things, and he can tell that she's barbarian. He probably doesn't know what clan she is necessarily, but she's obviously there as a vendor or someone selling food, because her wagon looks like it's staked out and has been permanent there for a while. And the big Ambrian woman and the other men are just taking what they want. And after they shove her on the ground a few times, she just kind of sits there for a minute and scrabbles back and looks at everyone else who either laughs or just don't really care necessarily. You probably look up north and see the barbarian watching as the same scene unfold. Looks like he's smoking kind of a pipe that you see flare now and then. He's taller and older, maybe in his early 50s or so, and he's just watching from the edge of one of his wagons to see what's happening. Master Emilio, go ahead. My fault.
Oh no, I'll wait a minute. I'll let you finish with the other guys.
Okay.
But eventually, I think my plan is to move up closer.
Okay. Master Emilio, what do? You see kind of Lyra May and Bo tuck in, Arok and his family kind of tuck in over the shoulder. They cast a little bit of worried glances over at what's happening in across the kind of court or the open space. What does Master Emilio do?
Is this the woman?
Yeah,
That's the barbarian woman?
right.
Okay. So Amelia is gonna strut over there and being that he's Ambrian,
Sure.
and then speak to like the one who looks like he's in charge and ask what's going on.
That would probably be the big woman, Master Emilio. So you're just gonna walk across the right. What do you say? Like, she's in the business of just taking stuff, Master Emilio. You've seen thievery before. It's not it's painfully obvious what they're doing. They have numbers. You look around you, you make a quick count. You're smart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 13. They have numbers. She's a lone barbarian, and they're just doing what they want. What does
So I just ask the leader what's the meaning of this.
And she just looks at you. She's huge, Emilio. She should be ogre,
Ambrian,
but she's Ambrian, right? But she's Ambrian. She's just as tall as an ogre, and just as wide as an ogre, and she's got kind of like a flat face, and her nose is smushed, and she looks at you and says, "Ordo, this is our business. Unless you want to be strung up in a tree for fun and we shoot arrows at you, I suggest you go find a campsite."
Okay, so he just ignores the woman and he calls over to the barbarian and speaks in barbarian and asks what's going on.
Yeah, she just kind of looks at you and her eyes flick around, and isn't it obvious? They're taking what they want because they're Ambrian.
I
And
see.
look at all of them. Who's gonna prevent them from doing it this late in the year? I knew I shouldn't have come out here. It's
Dude,
my
does this-
fault.
Does this happen in he's gonna continue in barbarian? Does this happen often?
No, I've been coming here all year, but I try to make a little extra corn and come out late.
I mean,
Usually we have our
are
own
there
people
many
here, but
Ambrians here? Are there many Ambrians like this here?
many Ambrians come through, on their way to Carvosti, and some bigger. He would know as a master that some bigger expeditions come through the road and stop along the way. A lot of them go to Carvosti before they head out. So the Order has funded a lot of really big expeditions, and they're all use the road to Carvosti. Anyone who has linkage to Prios too would know that the church, there's a temple on Carvosti that they found that has been problematic relationship between barbarians and Ambrians, and the churches has a presence on Carvosti itself where the High Chieftain is. So this is a fairly well traveled area. It's just late in the season, and Master Emilio gets a sense that this isn't normal. It's just because she's out here late in the season. There's not as many barbarians around and she herself and the lone barbarian that's further out, like out here, are the only barbarians, and they just have had bad luck with this particular group.
So he huffs at the leader and he just walks away.
Okay. Lena, what do you do as you see Diego kind of skirt around the edges? Aroke's family kind of tucks in to kind of be away from whatever's happening, and Master Emilio, you could see, walk up to the wagon and start talking. What does Lena do?
Lena will join the rest of the group.
Okay, just watching what's going on. Does she stay close to Bo? Does she follow Degoi, or? Okay. Degoi, you are going to do something as you're kind of watching Master Emilio. He walks up there and you see the discussion. You obviously hear the tone of the big woman. She's obviously threatening. She has numbers, and she kind of casts a glance around, but doesn't seem to concern her at all. What does Degoi do?
Has she turned back to harassing the barbarian?
Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of emptying everything out of the wagon, and they're almost done taking whatever they want.
Okay. Degoi moves up to the two of them, closer to the barbarian or the big Ambrian woman, and with a smile and a jovial look on his face, he's like, "Oh, this looks like fun, huh? Stealing things from helpless women, picking on people less fortunate than you. Man, this is so great, huh? It's a great time to be an Ambrian."
Yeah, she's well taller than you, Degoi. She just kind of looks at you and, are you making a point, man?
No, I just thought I might join the fun, right?
Sounds like it, but this is ours. You're not with us. Go back
And
over there.
Who is us? Who are you?
That's no matter to you. Who are you first, then?
I am Degoi. One of lesser noble stature, but definitely above your station. So
She
perhaps you
just
should lead
laughs.
with your name.
I'm Belda. Degoi. Ambrian, brother. What are you defending this barbarian for? I mean, look all around you. You really want to mess with me today?
Who said I'm defending a barbarian? I just
Hmm.
said I came over to, and join in the fun and games of picking on someone weaker than you.
She kind of like steps up to you, the goy, and just right into your face. The woman kind of like tries to get underneath her wagon, or she's like really close, and the big woman is, maybe a head or two taller than you, the goy, and she just kind of looks down at you and says, "Are you finished?"
Well, it seems like you've got quite a lot there. Perhaps a tax is due to the queen. Perhaps half.
She laughs at you. There's no queen out here, unless you're one.
Degoi wickedly smiles at her and narrows his eyes. The queen is everywhere. You should always remember that.
Well, when I see her men out here, and they have more numbers than then I will pay tax. But if it's just you, and there are, I don't know, 10 of us, I think I will decline.
Okay. Don't want to pay the queen's tax, even though you just probably doubled what you're worth. No problem. And Degoi will step back, join the group.
Okay. One of the priests comes over to you, Lirame, and he says, "Do I know you, brother? From what parish do you come? Are you on your way to Thistle Hold in the temple too?"
We are working our way into the depths of Davokar. We've come forth from Thistle Hold. I am a student of Father. I remember my character's backstory's name. Father Savolo, is it? No.
Father Savolo's the outcast.
Father's. Yeah.
Yours. I don't see it written.
Yes, I don't have it written down, which is what I should do. Yeah, the guy that runs the soup kitchen is Savolo, isn't it?
Right. And Lirame would probably know not to mention his name, since he's persona non grata. Like him and the church don't get along.
Yeah. Lero will say that in his youth he trained with his family's theurge to join the Order. The life has had different plans for me.
He kind of looks you up and down, and what is your name then?
I am Lirame.
Oh, I am Adar. Can you roll your discreet test, Lirame, against his vigilance?
That I can try and do. That I cannot do.
Yeah, you see him quirk a little bit, Lirame, and you feel a little intake of breath. And then he says, "I see. Lirame it was then." And you know that something has set him off about you. He kind of looks you up, down again, and he looks at your crowd and looks at Master Emilio and Bo and Degoi, who's standing next to you, and then maybe Leonette comes up behind him, and he kind of looks at them and says, "Well, May Prius keep you safe, Lirame and Davokar. And he just kind of backs away towards you, and you see him back away. He leans into the Templar that's kind of keeping watch over his group, and he kind of whispers in his ears. The Templar leans into him, and then he looks up and he looks straight at you, Lirame. And then the third goes and kind of regains, and you see him talking quietly between the other priest and him.
Yeah. When he was leaving and said Lirame, I would have stopped him. It is Liro now. As mentioned, it appeared my fate was different from what we had all wished.
Yeah, I see, Liro. I see. He just kind of backs up. Bo, do you do anything as the group kind of regains and things seem to settle? The big woman kind of grabs everything they have and kind of putting it in a sack, and the barbarian, just kind of is by her wagon. Master Emilio kind of moves in and talks to them and comes out, and the woman is starting to try to clean up the area that's been, and pick up empty bags that she's had and crates that have been turned over, and collect her stuff and try to get it into her wagon. Does Bo do anything specific?
No, I'm just watching to make sure there's no conflict.
Yeah, no conflict breaks out. They take what they want, and then you see them kind of regain and walk over. Now the big woman, says something, and you can't really quite hear it, and you hear laughter from the group as she kind of rejoins the group. But they don't do anything else. They just take what they want from the barbarian woman, or everything she has, the foodstuffs and whatever, and she, is trying to clean up, looking over her shoulder and trying to get her wagon back into shape, but no conflict breaks out.
Okay.
Does anyone do anything else specific? A rogue probably comes up and says, we're just gonna camp over here, and keep low, be out in first light. Hopefully they will mean no one else any harm.
Sounds good.
Okay. And so what is the group's intentions? Just to camp overnight?
Yeah, I think so.
Might as well. Seems like a good place.
Okay. Yeah, Roke tells you this is the, Jakaar Breast camp, or, the waypoint, partway between here and the bridge over to Malgomar. But if you're just going to keep watch, nothing really happens. Have a big bonfire in the center. Eventually, that big group of men and women, obviously treasure hunter, settles. They may be a little raucous at points, but they set their own watch. Also, you can tell, like, two of them stay up. What would you all do?
Well, I don't know anybody about it. I don't know about anybody else, but Degoi closely watches the other group, and once the majority of them have sleeping, I think Degoi kind of gets up, walks. I guess this is a shadow on the map from the trees.
Yeah, well, you can figure it's dark. Like there's this. I didn't want to use lighting, but there's a campfire right in the middle that casts light pretty much everywhere around that circle.
Right. So Degoi is going to take a nice walk around and, outside of the lights, and kind of disappear into the night and come up behind their watch.
Okay. So if you're gonna do that, are you gonna do that all by yourself? No. Not
Yeah, I'm
gonna
not
tell
doing it.
anyone, or
Yeah, I wasn't gonna tell anybody.
Okay. Roll a discrete test. When do you do that? You know, roughly on your watch, late at night? Do you do it?
Yeah.
Bo and Leo May are doing their first watch, or
Yeah, probably late into my watch.
okay. You tell Lena.
Oh, I don't know. Are you on my watch, Linda?
She usually is. You usually on watch with her.
Yeah.
But sometimes she likes to read your mind, you know. But yeah, whoever's on the watch with me, whether it's Luna or somebody else, I'd be like, I'm just gonna stretch my legs.
Okay. Like you're not gonna do what you say you're gonna do. You're just going out to pee.
Right. That's the lie I tell.
Right. Okay. All right. We'll do that when, second watch. Your, kind of typical watch. Who would be on first watch? Bo and Lyra May again with Master Emilio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Master Emilio, you think you're gonna stay awake?
Master Emilio will make an effort to do his part.
I set up a nice sleeping spot for him on our watch
Sure.
with the
Mas-
expectation that he won't be able to stay awake.
Right. He's pretty wounded. Like he's got, barely enough toughness. I think I would have him make a resolute test minus whatever missing toughness he has. What is your toughness at present, Master Emilio?
It's like 1, isn't it? Did I
Right.
gain anything?
No, because it's not the next morning. You're gain 1 next morning. So you can make a resolute at -8. See if you stay up. Or it just the fatigue just makes you fall asleep. Oh, you make it. Look at that. You got your way through it, Master Emilio. What do you do as you're standing watch with Bo and Lyra May and stay up for the first time?
Well, Master Emilio just kind of weirdly, he looks like a sack of potatoes, and but barely manages to keep his eyes awake. Leans heavily against maybe a tree or a rock.
Sure. You're there, Master Emilio, with Bo and Lyra May on this first watch, and you see the tall barbarian kind of walk through. He just, while it's late, it's probably 11 o'clock. He's smoking a pipe, and he sees that you three are up, and he kind of walks over to your two, and he, shakes a bag and at you and speaks in fairly good Ambrian, says, "Smoke? You all smoke? Share, while we watch, for things." And he looks over his shoulder at the Ambrians who are kind of camped out on the other side.
So when the barbarian approaches, Emilio sits up and kind of pulls himself up, leaning on his spear like a crutch, and speaks to the barbarian in barbarian and gives him a greeting.
See, like he looks at you, Master Emilio, and says, "You have your own pipe."
No, I do not smoke. I do not smoke. It is not good for the health.
I have second. I loan you. He kind of pulls out like his little pipe from his jacket. We all friends smoke together. You sure?
He points to his very, very heavily bruised black and blue neck, and he says, "I have trouble breathing right now."
Oh, that looks terrible. He kind of looks over his shoulder and he goes, "Well, how about you?" And he looks at Lyra May and Bo. "You share some pipeweed with me." Pipeweed? Is that the right word?
I do not partake in such things.
Well, shame. It is good. It is good on your tongue. A little bit of fire, a little bit of scent. Smells good too. Women like it. He looks at Lyra May. "You?" And he kind of looks at your mask for a minute. Man of Prios, you smoke with me.
Lyra hasn't even really been paying attention to this man the entire time.
Why? What's he been paying attention to?
I mean, it's a barbarian.
Oh, barbarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're disdainful, huh?
Yes. But I am gonna be kind to Amelia, and now that I am whole again, there's a lot of praying to recover that. I'm gonna try and pray for Amelia's recovery.
Okay.
A little bit better.
What does it look like when you heal Emilio? Like, how do you approach him? Like this Ordo magician who Degoi strangled.
It is just like a recital of the standard theatrical like chants, so like prayers to Prios and such things, with probably like a bit of a holy glow coming from his hands, where he does like the Prios bless thee. I imagine the lay on hands is probably on Emilio's head because it's just the right height.
Does he ask before he does it, or he just plops his hands on top of Emilio's bald head?
Would Emilio have any reason to refuse blessings from Prios? Any reason I should know about Emilio?
No, he's too weak to resist.
Then no, I would not ask. Lero has been like open with the group that like all day that he's been trying to restore the damage that has been afflicted.
So
whilst they were in like by those shadowy creatures.
So Emilio tries to make small talk with the barbarian, ask him his business. What brings you to where is he headed? Where is he headed?
I am Odavian, and I am heading back to Karvosti with my wagons. I pick up some gear and things that I trade back and forth. This is my last run for the winter. He kind of pulls out a pouch and it jingles it. Jingling. You interested in making some money? Perhaps we are going in the same direction, and I need bodies. And he kind of looks over his shoulder again at the Ambrians. Are you traveling in that direction? And can make a few thaler.
Well, we are unfortunately going in the opposite direction.
Oh, you're heading back to Thistle Hold, but you came from the
Oh,
other
I'm
direction.
sorry. Oops.
Yeah, he kind of looks confused at you. It says, "Huh,
Yeah, take that.
you are
back.
going back to
Take that back.
take
that back.
back." Yeah, you're going in the same direction. It seems he's heading towards Karvosti, towards the camp.
What service do you need, my good man?
Well, it would seem that it's a bit dangerous on the road. I've seen your group and together, and you have good bodies. I could use a few good bodies, and me and my wagons make it towards the bridge camp at Karvosti. You look at his wagons, and you can see that he has, a couple of mules attached to his wagons, and it looks like it's just him. It's like a double hitch. He's got two wagons that are kind of hitched together, and wasn't expecting trouble, but sometimes we get a little greedy, huh? No, too many runs, a little greedy, but it is what it is. Are you
So
interested?
Amelia turns to the others and as aside, pulls them aside and asks them, "What do you think? We're going in the same direction, but this guy seems he might. We don't know what he's carrying, and I don't want any trouble."
How much money are we talking?
Well, you could go ask him. I'm not. I could barely talk. He just points to his neck.
Oh, you go ask him.
Yeah, I would go ask.
Why? Well, he kind of looks over his shoulder at the Ambrians and he scratches his head and he goes, 15 tailor for each of you if it's an easy ride, and if there's trouble, 25 tailor.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot. That is a.
I just shake my head and go back and tell these guys if they didn't hear.
That's a lot of money. So he talks privately to the group and says, "That's a lot of money. I think this guy might be a criminal, or he's carrying some contraband. Last thing we need is for these Templars to. Last thing we need is to give these Templars a reason to kill us."
This is more than you would expect for a day's work. The Jakaar camp is not. I do not believe it to be so far from Kavosti that such guards are needed.
It's about a day, right? It's a day to the bridge camp.
Yeah, we're already like 4 days into the forest, so that seems ridiculous. Yeah, Lero does not trust this barbarian. He is working some ploy, a scheme.
You can make a vigilant test, Lirame, if you'd like. You can still think
Sure.
he's working a scheme, but
Yeah.
whether you have any objective evidence that he's working a scheme. Yeah, he looks
My
a little
racism
shifty.
is justified.
His eyes kind of shift over to the Templars and look over his head, but he also looks, out into the forest on occasion. He seems to be smoking his pipe pretty fast. So maybe Lirame's feelings, at least Lirame would think his feelings are justified.
Yep. Racism. Totally justified.
So I assume you three decline.
Yeah, just politely declined the offer.
Yeah. I'm going to continue praying over Emilio. I have no idea how hurt Emilio and Bo are. Bo, is it what, half?
I mean, resolute?
Both, actually, because you took resolute damage as well, didn't you?
Yeah. But you saw that my wounds healed.
Okay. I'm still going to do some praying over you to restore your
Okay.
resolute.
But
So
my
you
resolute's still lacking. So
it's restored by at least 6 points.
more than I needed.
Okay.
so
Turn my attention back to praying over Emilio for his swift recovery.
Bo, Lirame, and Master Emilio's watch, aside from the barbarian wanting to hire them, goes without a hitch. You see the Ambrians kind of switch out their watch, and Lena and Degoi, it comes to your watch. Degoi, you kind of step out into the shadows and tell Lena you're just, gonna do your business or something. What is Degoi's plan?
So Degoi's plan is to sneak up on the posted guard, take them down, and basically go kill the big woman.
Crazy.
She did not want to give tithing to the queen. She must die.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna put 2 guards out in the center, roughly speaking. And so you look up Degoi, and you know they have kind of 2 guards. They, they're kind of close to the fire, but not necessarily. They're kind of separated in 2 kind of groups, roughly speaking. And you got a big group kind of laid in on the hillock or the rise over here. They got their backs against the rise of land. You have the kind of guard here in front and a guard here, and then you got this other set of 3 kind of laid in up here. You know there's 3 shapes above in the darkness, but they're kind of out of light. They're laying down up above on that kind of rise up here, and there are 3 men up there that are elevated above you. The woman is right here, this one right here, and she's tucked into the hillside itself, surrounded by bodies, and so you have those 2 guards. Really, how would Degoi go about doing that by himself?
So, depending on how the guards kind of operate, if they're like sitting there looking at each other, talking and stuff, then I would.
Yeah, they probably come together. They come together near the fire at times, and and they might be kind of hovered near the fire, but they're not right next to it. But I imagine they're together in some degree. They're not like separated.
Okay, so then I would avoid them actually, and just go straight for the lady trying to sneak past them.
Do you tell anyone you're doing this?
No, I just told Lena to keep an eye out, and just gonna stretch my legs.
All right. And what direction would you go? How would you do that?
Well, I was thinking of coming around to this top portion on the upper ledge.
Uh-huh.
Right next to that one guy up there. Since
Now
he's asleep.
Right. Or you can't really tell because you can't really see them, but because they're elevated. So this is about a 15-foot or 3-meter rise, from here up this kind of slope to the top is about 15 feet or 4 meters, give or take. And just so you know, you'd scramble up the side if you went outside in the darkness, really, to do that. Or, you could, if you scouted out ahead and you came up around the north end, that rise kind of tapers off and you could walk around in the dark.
Okay, I'll probably do that one then.
Okay. So you're going to, because it won't be hard to see the firelight. You're just kind of walking in the shadows of the firelight or the throw of this big bonfire around that northern tip.
Right. So yeah, I'd go up that way past the barbarian, out into the darkness, up that short lip there, and then down to this first guy.
Okay. So make me one discrete test first, just to get, to the edge. Right, so you kind of back out of the camp, maybe through this small meadow before it gets into Davokar, and you kind of get outside the firelight's throw. You can see Lena that you left back there. She's back there after you tell her you're gonna take a walk, and you don't really see any movement from the guards. They don't really notice it, or they don't really pay attention, or maybe they see you get up, but you're walking in the other direction, and it doesn't seem to be all that problematic, really. It's not like a danger. And you make it around that edge, on the edge. Now, how close are you going to go up path and pretty up the slow rise then around those wagons. Okay. So you're kind of walking around in the dark. It's really not hard because it's like a grassy hillock. And you can see the fire, dancing along the edge of the ravine or that edge of the rise. And you probably have this big giant boulder that you post up to before you move further. You see two figures just kind of laid out in sleeping, and a third figure that's just standing just outside the firelight, kind of looking out towards the forest this way. Relatively shorter than you by about half a head, has his back towards the fire and looking out towards the meadow that's this way before Davokar begins again. And you would probably know that he is doing that to keep his night sight, so he doesn't look into the fire, as opposed to these fools down here by the fire. They wouldn't be able to see anything. What does Degoi do is he makes it, to this rock about here.
Right. So I'm gonna come up behind the one that's up and looking out into the darkness,
Right.
and
Kind of sneak through their campsite and try to take him unaware.
right.
Okay. Then make a discreet roll. Let me see what you probably make a discreet roll against his vigilance.
Okay.
All right. He doesn't seem to see you. You probably come, off his. I'm just going to move your icon there. You probably come, sneak up around these two guys, and he's standing there. He's looking out into the dark, and you sneak up quietly. If you want to try to take him out, you can roll ambush. It's an ambush roll, so.
So I'm going to strangle him.
Okay.
Oh, I will spin an X.
That's terrible. A 20 and a 17.
I know, right? Like the worst I could do.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely spinning an XP.
Okay. That's pretty surprising. So you're going to re-roll?
Yes, I'm just setting it back up.
Oh, okay.
That's better.
You still almost failed.
Yeah.
4 rolls, you only get 1 success. So what happens? How does that happen? What do you do?
So as I come up behind him, probably almost stepping on a twig, causing that first initial oops. I wrap the garrote around his neck, and I kind of drag him out of the light as we go down to the ground, strangling him.
Yeah, he's kicking and making a lot of noise as you go down to the ground. I think the other two make vigilant rolls to see if they wake up while you're doing that. I will just make it straight. Vigilant. Well, I I will use yours and make a vigilance against your discreet. How's that?
Okay.
Well, one of them wakes up. Doesn't matter then.
Oh, who's that?
Whew.
Both of them.
Both of them. Yeah, I chose your discreet, and did it do it right? 0. What's your discreet?
My discreet's a 15.
Yeah, it should have rolled it differently, but I think 8 and 9. Your discreet's a 15, which is a... There.
Yeah, the math is always weird to me on this. It's like hard to figure out when it's them versus us. When it's us versus them, we want obviously the higher or the under roll, but the opposite way seems different.
Yeah, I'm almost positive both of them should have failed. Because you have a 15, so they only have a 10, and it should have been minus. It should have been at. It's for whatever reason it's not rolling. Even though I have you targeted, it's not rolling a vigilant against your discreet. So they should have been at negative, like at least 3, and both of their vigilance are only 10, and so they should have both failed. They would have had to need like a 7 or less to hear you. So I don't think they hear. I think you drag him off, and he kicks and is trying to kick out at them, trying to make noise, but you got the garrote all the way around his neck, and he gets to try to break free. Correct?
No, he gets no actions.
He gets no actions until the next round. And you just maintain your hold, though. There.
Yeah, I have to maintain it. Yeah. Target cannot act until the strangler hold is aborted.
Oh,
Character
okay.
maintains the stranglehold with successful cunning.
So I would roll your cunning to see if you maintain it. Okay. You would just roll your damage. I think that would just put him to sleep anyways. Lena, the Degoi has been gone a long time. Is that of any concern?
Well, Lennox concerned a little and wonder what he's doing.
Yeah, you kind of look over your shoulder, and he hasn't come back in a while. It's probably been, by the time it takes him to go and sneak up around there, you're talking 20, 30 minutes maybe. What does Lena do? He walked this way and just hasn't come back out of the forest.
Lena will just stay where
Okay.
and be with.
I missed that last part.
Lena will stay and be with the rest of the group.
Okay. Degoi, you put this one to sleep. You know, he kicks a few times. You hold on. You're in this kind of grass, and you kind of skirt away from the other two that are asleep that don't wake up. And he just goes still, and you're just holding on. What does Degoi do now?
So Degoi is basically going to do the same thing to the next one
While they're asleep.
while they're asleep.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sorry. I'm not putting them to sleep. I hope you know. I'm straight.
Oh, I know that. I just, it's,
Okay.
All right. And so you're going to attack one of these who are on the ground.
Yep.
All right. So
lay down right next to them, right behind them, wrap it around their neck,
Okay.
put my knee in their back, and start pulling.
All right. So do that to one of them. It's, unopposed. I think you just established I don't expect, unless you get a terrible failure, I'd give you favor to your roll, which should make it impossible for you to fail. But,
Yeah, you say that.
well, so you got a 2. And so you establish a chokehold on the other one. He kicks out, as soon as you go over him, he's starting to fight against you, Degoi, kicking out, trying to kick out at the one who's sleeping next to him, and he's going to make a vigilant roll to see if he could kick him and get him to wake. He just kicks that one, Degoi, as you're holding on to him, and that one kind of wakes up and looks and then sees there's this tumble of bodies, you and the other one, Degoi, and he's going to jump to his feet. What do you do?
Well, I'll maintain the strangle on this guy, and that's about what I can do.
Okay. Then roll your to maintain your stranglehold as this guy shouts out. Lena, you hear this shout from across the opening, up high where those 3 guys were. You hear this shout, just barely can see them. You hear someone shout down, yelling at the others to get up. They're being attacked, and you hear that as you're kind of looking around to see where Degoi is. Degoi, you kind of hold that strangle arm until that guy kicks and kicks and is going to go limp. But the other one draws his sword as you're holding it, and he can easily draw it. You just see him draw it as quickly as possible, very fast, and he attacks you as you're slowly strangling his friend on the ground. Lena, what do you do when you hear that shout and Degoi hasn't shown back up?
Lena will try to look where the sound came from.
Through the camp itself?
Yeah.
Past the other guards? Like in this direction? You just hear that it's up here, kind of past that firelight.
Lena will whisper heard and let them know what I heard.
Whew.
Because it's becoming disturbing.
Okay, you wake up Bo, Lirame, and Master Emilio.
Yes.
Okay. Bo, Lirame, Master Emilio, suddenly you're shaken awake by Lena rudely in the middle of the night. It's probably 2 a.m, give or take. You hear shouting, and then you hear echoes of people getting up around the camp. What do you all do?
So, Master Emilio, hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So Master Emilio stirs awake, and he looks around and says, "What's going on?"
Lena, do you know what's going on?
I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'm hearing a lot of noises on that side.
Voices? Where's Degoi? I don't see him.
Yeah, you just hear
I don't.
shouting all around you, like from across, and then answering shouts from, the Ambrians as they're woken up. The guards you see the guards kind of run. They're waking up others, or looking up and pointing up towards the embankment that's up above you. That you knew there were 3 other people up there, but you couldn't really see them. But that's what you see when you wake up, Master Emilio.
Okay, Emilio is just going to just grab his spear and stand up and just try to look around and see where Degoi went.
Okay. I don't expect you could see them, but I would let you make a vigilant at -3. You got a very low chance of seeing them from where you are, but it's possible if you're lucky. Yeah, Master Emilio, you look around and, Lena tells you he went down into the meadow, and you look that way, you see all the shouting and people rising and getting up around you as the guards are waking them and kind of pointing up the hill, but you don't really see Degoi. Lyra May, what do you do as Lena wakes you up?
Sort of sit up, Justy Lena, sigh. What has he done? and get up and walk forward and probably try and see where the loudest source of crying and squealing in pain is coming from.
Yeah, you don't hear any of that. Like Degoi is killing people silently. You do see like a couple people start, climbing up the embankment. It, like I said, it's about 4 meters, 15 feet, at a 45-degree angle, and you see them kind of scrabbling up this embankment towards the shouting, which is up here. You see a figure, because right now Degoi is on the ground, so you can't really see him. You see a figure there with a sword probably out, or you catch it in the firelight way up at the top of that embankment. That was one of the figures, but you don't really see Degoi necessarily. Bo, what do you do?
So is it obvious that there's conflict when I get woken up?
Well, you're waking up and it looks like the Ambrians are in a tumult, or they're getting all woken up, and you see these kind of people climbing up. You have no idea what's going on. You don't hear fighting. You don't hear the clash of swords, or you don't hear shields. You don't hear men and women fighting. You don't wake up really quickly, and you don't see abominations running through the camp. Doesn't seem like you're under attack. The Templars wake quickly and stand. One of them was probably already awake, and you don't see them moving. They're just looking about. They got their swords out and their shields. They've woken up the Thurges, but you can't really tell what's going on. The camp itself isn't under attack. You haven't been attacked.
Yeah. Based on kind of their reaction and our archer's reaction, I'll try to cast Blessed Shield on myself.
Okay. Yeah, something's happening. You're not quite sure what. All right, Degoi, you're up at the top with the archer, or up at the top with the man, and he got a short sword and is standing off of you. He sees the 2 dead bodies around you, and he just lays into you with his short sword as you're on the ground. and he still misses. Probably because you're moving out from underneath the body. What does Degoi do?
Oh, I imagine as he's trying to stick me with his sword, I kind of like shift the body in the sword's path, so he stabs his buddy,
Right.
and then I tumble out to get on my feet.
Yeah, so you have to make a quick roll.
Quick, right?
I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. To see if it doesn't take your whole round action. Yeah, it's going to take you that whole round to get up out
That's fine.
of. Yeah. These guys are just climbing up the embankment. What do you do as you stand, Degoi?
Oh, as I get to my feet, I kind of smile at the archer and say, "The queen's due is always near."
Lirame, Bo, and Lena make discreet tests. And Master Emilio. Someone's got to see Degoi
You
up there.
vigilant?
Vigilant, my fault. Vigilant. Someone's got to see him before he gets killed. There we go. Lena and Lirame, you see these people climbing up the embankment. One ogre, men in plate and chainmail. You see them reach the top and turn and start to run towards these two figures, and you realize that one of those figures is Degoi. What would you do, or what would you plan to do as you realize what's happening?
He's gonna die if we just leave him alone. Yep. Lero is gonna have to probably double move action. Get close to him, aren't I?
Get close to where?
Diego.
Right, so it'll take a double move just to go up the embankment. So if you go from here to here, it's going to take a whole move action. You could get to the embankment, wherever you go, here or over here in this round. But to get up the embankment is going to take another round.
Yep.
It's probably going to take... It'll take 2 rounds. It'll take your full move in action to get halfway up the embankment this turn. Then you would get up the embankment and tug Degoi, but it would probably take 2 rounds for you to get to him. Just so you know.
Yeah. Lero is gonna sigh and double move action up to Degoi.
Okay. Yeah, the easiest way is to go here, unless you want to track back behind them. But if you make a run for it, you can go there. So Degoi, you would plan to run and do that. Master Amelia, what would you do?
Okay, so Master Amelia sees the chaos. Sees the chaos erupting, and he tries to stay near Bo and Lena. He tries to make sense of what's going on. It seems very confusing still.
I think as Lirame moves, Bo and Lena would probably tell you, there's Degoi. Oh shit. And then Lero starts running across the thing. I think Master Emilio as Lena and Lirame sees Degoi at the top. They point him out. Master Emilio would figure out what's going on as he sees men of arms scrambling up and Lirame trying to follow them. the rest of the Ambrians at the moment, as he looks at them, they haven't really caught on yet to the fact that Degoi is the attacker and that you're attached to him. So none of them have turned towards you or anything like that. They're all facing towards where Degoi is at the moment.
He is just gonna ready his spear and just
Okay.
wait for the next turn.
Lena, as you see Degoi at the top there, a fair distance away, outside, just barely inside the firelight, but definitely pretty far. What would Lena plan to do?
Lena will attack the archer. Is
You
it,
might be able to do that if
reachable?
he's inside. Yeah, he's inside the light, so you might be able to move, and get a free line of sight. Where you are now, you can't really do that. Just gonna be hard. So I would move a little bit, make your movement action maybe, and then you can probably fire. Now you're well below him, so you will have to make that a disadvantage at -2. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Lena used Hunter Instincts and the 2 times up.
So you just catch him, Lena, with one arrow. You probably comes out of the darkness. His eyes are on Degoi. You just catch him probably across the back with 1 arrow, just like it's not a great shot. And because it's hard, it's dark, you're shooting over the fire up into the distance, and he's well above you at that part, and you just catch him barely with 1 arrow. Bo, what do you do as you see that Degoi is up there?
These guys aren't really reacting down here.
No, you see they're looking up there, and you see the 4 go up there, but they're not. Their backs are towards you, relatively. I mean, they may be looking around because they really aren't sure what's going on either. Some of them are looking down this way, and some of them are kind of looking this way. And a number of them are looking up top as they sent these 4 guards up, or 4 men and women up, who just kind of get outside the firelight. But they don't really have their attention on you at all at the moment. Degoi's up there, but they don't know Degoi's up there, or they don't recognize him at that degree yet.
Right, I'll cast retribution on this guy.
Okay.
See if I can target him. What was right click,
Double right.
double right? Got it.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. It works for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's just T for the GM and double right for players.
Mm-hmm.
I encountered that in another free league system.
Did you? Yeah, T isn't working for me either, but it's weird. Okay, so you cast Retribution. Do you stay next to Master Emilio after you do that?
I do.
Okay.
just in a protective posture.
You tell Master Emilio what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bo casts a spell, Master Emilio, on the one in front of him. You kind of know what's going on, and we're just going initiative. The whole group acts as the pikemen in the middle. I just left the archer there because he's in with Degoi. So Degoi, the man attacks you as you see these running figures come up over the edge and come running towards you, and he just looks at you, and you're done now, and he attacks you with the sword. Wow.
And then I repose against him.
Right. Okay.
Did the... Oh no, this is the archer. That's already...
Right. Now, Learmay, as he's doing his riposte, it's going to take your round to get next to Degoi.
Okay.
So you're halfway up, and you're going to get up there and be next to him. But it's going to take that round action. Would you do that as these figures are running towards him, or would you wait and not be standing there when they get there?
I would do it because I was planning to use the free attack from the long greatsword to cut down anyone that tried to jump on top of him.
Sure. Okay. You probably will get it.
Once you climb the cliff face, I think Degoi kind of like looks in your direction. He kind of smiles at you and says, "The queen's due must be paid."
Right. Degoi has told no one he's going to do this, and now all mayhem are going to break out. So Learmay, you crawl up next to, over the berm. You're getting up there, and you crawl up this rock and dirt, and finally stand up next to Degoi. There's 2 dead bodies next to you that are just laying lifeless. You can see, you see 2 figures to the north and 2 figures to the south, and realize that Degoi's got you into a mess. Do you say anything?
Beyond just pointing out that Degoi is really lucky that the Queen's rule is that Prios backs the Queen.
Okay. Bo, the gambit's up, really. You see Learmay rise up next to Degoi. As soon as Lena's bow shot goes off, obviously heads are turning back in your direction, and Lena's and intent is obvious. So what does Bo do?
I'll move and engage this guy right here.
Okay. All right. Does Bo do anything else?
No.
All right. So, Learmay, you can make your attack on the one that just moved up next to you.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming no advantage because Degoi is lying on the ground.
Degoi has stood up, but you don't get advantage because Degoi is gets surrounded. Like there's nowhere for him to go. So he isn't giving you much help, and so you really don't get advantage because he's standing next to you.
That's fair enough. Oh, they've got names. Degoi, you fucked us. They're named.
Now, I don't think you get to put him prone, but since that's a reaction, I don't think you get a second attack.
Yeah, just knock it.
You just knock him prone.
You get a reaction to everything that procs a reaction.
Right. Okay. So
But,
he steps
yeah,
up to attack, and
I'll accept knocking him prone.
yeah, he steps up to attack, and you just swipe him out, and he immediately drops to his knees, staggered because you could probably rise up. He's moving at the same time, doesn't see you right away. You come to stand next to Degoi just as he closes in on Degoi, and you get this free, easy shot, and almost take him out. Learme, almost do, and he's flat prone around you, and then just mayhem erupts. These two figures rush Lena. You see Lena as they rush you. You see this woman barbarian rush behind them and close in on them. Bo, these ones close in and move to attack you all, figuring that. But Master Emilio, as you're standing there, you see the Templars just run in this direction towards you. You have no idea what's happening. Swords and shields and spears are out everywhere, and you're going to know here shortly. And so I'm going to do the attacks on Degoi first. Degoi, what's happening?
Well, you can only dodge so many, knives thrust at you. No matter how much hip swaying I do, they're bound to get in there somewhere.
What this Learme see is you're just taking these hits, like you're just a mass of people around you that climbed up. You got one more, Degoi. Just have to stay standing for that one.
That is
Whee.
a beating and a half.
He's still standing. Degoi, what do you look like? What does Learme see as the other man turns towards him and tries to strike Learme because he's risen up out of the gloom beneath him?
Yeah, you see Degoi, he's doing his best to weave and dive, fending off a lot of it. Dang, Leroy got some of my pain.
That is
and then
not a lot, a good amount of damage.
I get to repose one of the successful defenses. I'm just trying to figure out which one I'm gonna do.
Yeah. You figure out that. I'm gonna go to Lena and Master Emilio and Bo. Bo, the other Ambrians, Master Emilio, Elena, they just kind of collapse on you, and the whole rest of the camp gets embroiled in this fight. Master Emilio, you see these Templars come crashing in too. You have no idea whether they're going to attack you or Bo. What is Master Emilio thinking at this moment?
Well, I think he gets a free attack because he has a spear.
Ah.
Yes.
Who are you going to take it against?
The first guy.
The first guy, like the big dude, that big dude.
Are they attacking him? Whoever is gonna attack him.
The front two. This guy here, in kind of helmet and mail, and this big giant ogre. They're obviously going to attack you, Master Emilio. The Templars, you're not certain whose side they're on.
So he's gonna cast. He's gonna cast Bendwell on the guy, the big guy in front of
Here
him.
it comes.
Here it comes.
Yeah, so target the ogre and roll bend will. All right. We will get. So you're going to bend will anyways. We're a little bit off cycle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my attacks against Bo first. Bo, these two in front of you, one man in medium armor and the giant woman kind of attack you as combat starts. So let me do their attacks against you. They both kind of work in concert. These were the two that were hassling the barbarian woman. The other one, he kind of strikes at you, but it just hits your armor, goes skating across it, and he just misses. And the big woman attacks you with this kind of two-handed hammer. She raises it over her head and just kind of tries to bring it down on top of you.
Ouch.
Yow. Okay. And Lena, you see these two rush towards you as you fire the bow. And one has this kind of long halberd spear that he attacks you with. And behind him, you see the woman is following with this kind of little dagger in her hand, racing across, kind of a shorter sword, racing behind them as he attacks you. The other one is suddenly buffeted by the barbarian who comes running towards you towards the other side. So he kind of turns and attacks the barbarian instead of you. You just have to resist that one attack.
Jean, how do I do?
Oh no, I thought I mustn't have rolled it right. Let me roll it here, and then I thought it rolled, but it didn't roll. My fault. Okay. That should be all of them. Lena, what do you do as they come crashing towards you? You see the woman behind you. You see the barbarian. They both seem to be coming to your aid as the treasure hunter group now starts attacking everyone. Who knows why, but it's probably Degoi's fault. What does Lena do?
Yeah, probably the boys cause chaos.
Right.
Lena will try to hide, and one of her ability is the unnoticeable.
Oh, yeah, okay. You could do that. You could do unnoticeable. You just roll unnoticeable to suddenly go, invisible. What? At the moment, it's a failure, Lena.
Can
Did you-
Lena?
Did you want to re-roll with XP, or did you want to leave it stand?
Yeah, I will. Lena will roll again.
Okay. There you go. So what happens, Lena? What do you do?
Lena is being careful and not making a sound
Okay.
and try to
You
hide.
you kind of fade from existence. Do you move?
Yes, I will move away from them.
Okay. Yeah, you can move wherever you want. You kind of disappear from their sight. Well, one of their sight. The other one's actually just looking at the barbarian. And so you kind of go unnoticeable and go to the edge of the firelight. Master Emilio, the one in front of you, as you cast your spell, he attacks you with this sword. And you're standing there, Master Emilio, and just as his sword comes down, you see the Templar step in front of you, and he just takes that sword cut all the way down the side of his shoulder, and almost like pushes you aside to one side, and like he's your bodyguard, he just steps in front of that blow, and he takes all the 4 damage to himself. What does Master Emilio do?
He's gonna command the control guy to attack the other guy.
The one right here, or the one in front of you?
One that's attacking me, yeah.
Okay, sure. So I could actually do that for you. That's the easiest way. He's gonna have the giant ogre attack him. He's gonna get advantage because he has no idea that you suddenly control him. But he just misses. Probably as you just take control of him, he pulls up his big hammer. He's going to strike down, and then you take control of him because he turns and misses completely, and his hammer goes into the ground. Funk. Degoi, what do? You see Laramie go to ground. There's one to ground around you. You got 3 others around you. What does Degoi do?
Degoi takes this opportunity to hit the one that's on the ground.
Okay.
Bonus.
All right. You get advantage when you do that. Okay.
Okay.
What does he do, and what does that look like, or what does he do next?
I was gonna say after ensuring the jab is straight through to his heart, I'd like to try to move to get a little bit of space.
And you are leaving melee, so you don't have acrobatics, correct? You can move, but all 3 of them will get to attack as you move out, as you move away.
Yeah. Well, I'll stay then. I'd rather not draw 3 free attacks.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, if it was Gutorm with acrobatics, it wouldn't be a bad idea. So you're just gonna turn as Laramie is on the ground behind you.
Right.
Okay. Well, it is midnight, my time, and you guys are in this battle caused by Degoi, and
correction, it was caused by the big fat woman.
Big woman, who's down now, gonna hurt Bo. What I think we'll do is end there and start here next session, if that's okay with everyone.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Anyone have questions for me?
Nope.
This looks really bad.
This looks really bad. Right.
No, it's not as bad as it looks.
We're fine.
Yeah, it's really bad. I mean, at most, 1 or 2 of us might go down temporarily, but we'll be all right.
Sure you will. Degoi,
Fine.
Degoi, you want to tell him how much toughness you're at?
I'm at 3. But
we did
I-
buy
I-
healing potions, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did, yeah. But it takes an action to take one of those, and I think
Yeah.
they get a free attack if you do it in combat, right?
I might have to look it up, but I don't know if Degoi would probably take one with him, but I'm not certain. But
It's movement, isn't it? Not a combat action.
it is, on the
Yeah, I don't
quick
know.
guide, it says drink elixir is a movement action. To apply elixir to yourself or your equipment. So it says drink or apply elixir is a movement action in combat.
Oh, okay.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I have
Applying it
one
to a
on me.
wounded, applying it to someone else is an action. Using it on yourself is a movement.